You know, guys, today's episodes are a little odd. I really like Attached. Attached is good. Even though it's about an old man's sexual tension with his dead best friend's wife. Other than that, it's really cool. But Phantasms and Dark Page, I mean, they're not bad, but they're weird. Which I feel like I'm saying that a lot, and I'm going to keep saying it a lot for the entire rest of this series, all of Season 7. Except Sub Rosa, which is amazing. Sub Rosa is the best episode. And that's this season. When do we get Sub Rosa? How many weeks is it? TNG season...
At least... Actually.
Yes?
No, sorry. Like 2 weeks.
It's... Yeah. 3 weeks. It's the last episode.
Force of Nature Inheritance Parallels, then Pegasus Homeward Sub Rosa. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 more weeks. 2 weeks in between, and no, third week. It's the third week.
Are we going to make
on
a big thing
August
of it?
7th, we are getting Sub Rosa.
Yes, 2 weeks from this time. Yes.
Clear your schedule. That's a Sub Rosa weekend.
Sub Rosa's such a good episode. It's amazing. It's rapidly becoming my favorite TNG episode.
What?
Why?
Because the other ones, I mean, TNG, most of the episodes are legitimately good, but Sub Rosa's hilarious.
It's definitely in the so bad it's good category.
It is. Yeah. So for the Discord folks, I won't be hanging around today for the next 6 hours chatting about nothing. Got other things to do today.
As do
How
I.
dare you?
I do. It's just the way it goes. It's the way the cookie crumbles. It's the way the cat meows. What are the other words? The other idioms?
Well, hello there.
Howdy.
I already did that, Robo.
Yeah, but we weren't on stream at the time. And yes, I'm aware the correct response is General Kenobi. You are a bold one.
Indeed.
So, what was the confusion about the schedule thing? I mean, it's just the time. What's confusing about time? Were you on a VPN or something?
It was just code.
Is it still
What was
code?
that?
Wait, what? You got code as opposed to the actual time?
Yeah,
Supposed to
on my
phone.
it was just a string of code on my screen.
What? Why does everything you own not work?
On my computer, it shows up as a date, but on my phone, it showed up as a string of code. Let me see.
Let me check it on my
okay.
phone. Schedule. Oh, I can join.
It's
Hang on. What
no-
happens if I join the voice
It just
on my
changes
phone
your
and I'm
phone.
here?
It just
Game
changes your
is,
code
and then it has a string of numbers. 16273.
It works on my phone.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't have the same phone.
No, I assume we don't have the same phone. But why does
Well, what's
everything
an
you own
Android?
not work that's electronics related?
Yeah.
What do you mean the smooth talking guys
Everything's
in
a
the show?
compromise.
Am I not smooth enough for you?
You're like crunchy peanut butter, Brian.
Okay. If it helps, I can get closer to the microphone and talk in a lower voice.
There you go. Lower register.
Just
You need
talking
to add
lower.
Who is this
a bit
sweet-
softer.
a crossover. We add a
who is
crossover
this
filter.
sweet-talking guy, Elizabeth.
I could even go
You
into
don't
the filter
remember him? I
properties.
can't forget.
Add a filter. No,
Who
I
can
can't.
forget his
I can't
sultry
lower my
tones?
register in filters in OBS. I'd have to install something.
I have great filters in OBS, but I can't output OBS mic to Discord. Such a plugin doesn't exist. With virtual link, maybe, I don't know.
Anyway,
Possible.
40
You
seconds
can
to
use
start.
OBS
Everyone be
create a
queued up
virtual
to
camera.
Season
I know
7,
that
Episode
much.
6, Phantasms. Season 7, Episode 6, Phantasms.
I've got something to show you on Netflix after.
Well, I'm not going to be hanging around too long after, so have it queued up.
Oh, okay. What about Halo 4?
Not today, no. I have got other things I need to do.
Oh, no.
I'm busy this weekend. Everybody get ready to press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. And blur the screen. Excellent.
Walking simulator.
But it's a walk-in simulator with a different camera lens. They're using the wide angle here. Why are you just standing there, Jordy? Why aren't you helping replace the plasma conduit?
He's off duty. Can't you see that?
But he's in uniform.
Yeah, but he's on his way to his room or something. I don't know.
No, this is a dream, nightmare thingy.
One, that hammer is very obviously not touching the set wall. It's not even getting close.
Yeah.
But also, is that Jonathan Frey? No, I just saw a beard and assumed Jonathan. It's a different guy. Ah, why? Why does the show do this to us? Oh,
That's
oh
a
hey,
really
it's that
good
same
shot.
prop of Data's head. The question was, does Data dress casually? The answer very clearly is no. He's in bed, and he's in his uniform with his comm badge.
I suppose we're lucky that Data dresses at all.
Yeah, I mean, in a future episode, pretty soon actually, we're going to determine that Data has a modesty algorithm that Sung put in, because he used to not wear clothes. When he was a child. Bye, stars. Maybe one day they'll stay. Maybe one day.
You know, they did their best job in 1989. All right.
You could have used literally any. You could have just done it differently.
They could have made it over again instead of trying to splice two things together.
Yeah.
So they did a job, and they did it pretty well, but it's not their best. Anyway, how's the weather for everyone? Let me check mine. It is currently, God, 63 degrees. It's so hot.
Is it just done a fade?
I've declared war on the weather.
Oh, never mind. It just updated to 60 degrees. That's okay.
You know, remember when China had the Olympics a few years ago? They declared war on the weather. I don't know how that worked for them. Don't know if it
Apparently I'm
worked out
winning.
well or not. Okay, good, good.
I will report in with further updates.
Never changes.
No, war changes a lot. It changes all the time. What do you mean? That's been a major theme throughout history.
Fair point.
Like, we don't do Napoleonic war style where we just line up and shoot each other.
Yeah, we had the best wars like just recently.
We're so good at war now, and we're going to get even better at it. Also, apparently
Let's do
Windows
An
10
alien
updated
species just
that the little
An
weather
alien-
indicator now shows the air quality index, so that's nice.
Are we gonna get better
Yeah.
at it, or are we gonna have robots that are better at it?
What's the difference? We made the
Well,
robots, that
we
counts.
don't
I mean, at some point, the robots become self-aware, and then they're just doing their own thing.
we don't
Well,
want to
hope-
become those species that they encounter in Voyager, where there aren't those species anymore, and just the robots are left fighting each other.
But it makes for
Yeah,
such a
that
good
sounds-
episode.
That's one of the plausible outcomes of our species.
Oh my god, we could make our whole society based around becoming a Star Trek villain of the week. That'd be great.
I mean, we already
Can
are.
I be a pack led?
Sure.
Yes, yes, you may.
No, I don't think we're a
Why
villain of
is
the
this-
week right now. I mean, we're certainly a problem of the week, but we're not a villain. We're not a threat to anyone. But
Why is this
ourselves.
To ourselves.
green?
We need to
on
be a
the,
threat
Yeah,
to,
but
to
warp
them.
core?
if we keep getting so good at war so fast, by the time we are encountered by an alien species, they just will be like, no, destroy the planet.
But how can they if we're so good at war?
Is this the only
There's a
episode where the warp core?
hologram.
Is this the only episode where the warp core has that weird screen on the front?
I wasn't looking. Does it have a screen?
Yeah, it has like a instead of where it used to have just a white glowing orb, there is now a computer screen with green buttons that doesn't look like it belongs in the Enterprise.
All right, everyone, let's go around the room and share a nightmare we've had before. I'll start. Once when I was a kid, I had a nightmare that Gollum was under my bed and talking to me. Gollum.
Wow.
He was
Okay.
actually kind of chill.
I once had a nightmare where I was doomed to watch Star Trek with a bunch of people on Discord
My God.
for all eternity and discuss.
Well, it's a good thing in the waking world it's voluntary and you're choosing to be here.
Well, Ryan says that, but what you don't know is he's hired a hitman to stand over me, keep me at the computer at gunpoint.
What do you mean? This is the nightmare?
Yeah, that too. I can't wake up. I can't wake up. What was Chakotay's thing? He saw the moon and he knew it was a dream, and so he could wake himself up, but then he couldn't wake himself up.
I once had a nightmare where I wasn't the protagonist in my story. God.
Oh no. Were you the villain?
No, I was just a side character.
Just a side
It
character.
was awful.
Well, here's the thing: you are just a side
You like-
character. Everyone is.
Were you like
No,
Barkley?
you're the side character in my story.
No,
Also-
everyone's a side character.
Get it right.
What's up with Geordi in this episode? So some woman's hitting on him and he doesn't like that. But there are two issues. One, Geordi, I don't know if you can be so picky. And
Yes.
two, what's wrong with her? She's attractive, she's smart, she's an engineer. What's wrong with her?
He's
She's also
he
his
doesn't-
subordinate.
He just doesn't feel it.
He doesn't
That's
want
it.
to transfer her to another department because he needs her labor. But
Also, he's
also,
he
Oh, there's
just
the little
doesn't-
screen. Yeah, I don't recognize
like
that
it.
screen. It's usually just blue.
someone,
Just doesn't feel
right?
it.
Is this
I think-
post-Romulan sabotage story? You remember that? Well, no, it was Klingon.
There was I think originally it was just a circle, and then at one point it gets like a little dividing bar, and then it gets this for a few episodes, and then it goes back to the one with the dividing bar, I believe.
Hmm.
We'll see.
I don't remember, to be honest, and I also don't know how many more times we see the warp core this season.
And this is the only time I think where it's green in those little windows in the middle,
This
like
is
Probably
the
just
glow.
some
Yeah, I don't know.
experiment running.
this is a point where extras not being able to have lines kind of takes me out of it a bit because the helm
Yeah.
lady isn't saying that the ship's not responding. It's I can't move. It's not doing anything. She's just sitting there pressing a button. Picard has to figure it out for himself. It's like, did you press engage or not? What are you doing? I said go. It's probably for the best that Geordi's not dating the woman though, because she's probably a spy.
Why
She's
do you
probably
call
the
them the warp
saboteur.
coil engines? Like,
Uh,
I've never heard them referred to as the warp coil engines before.
But is it strictly incorrect to say that?
I don't know.
They have
Hey,
warp
Spot.
coils in
They're
them.
the engines that power the warp coils. Yeah, someone needs to grab Geordi and see, like, see how this feels, Geordi? See how
Yeah,
this feels?
let me
This is
unblur the
what you
screen. Oh,
do
look, it's a
to
cat.
everybody.
Oh, it's such a good cat.
It is behaving very well considering there's a humanoid staring straight at it.
Yeah, cats don't like it when you stare at them.
Data won the staring contest.
With a cat.
That's very rare. Cats don't tend to care when you stare at them.
Cats absolutely
give
care
us
when you
stare
stare
straight.
at them.
No,
They're
they
not
just
into
stare
it.
fair.
straight back.
Yeah.
The staring contest was 24 years long.
Spot's still a he at this point.
Okay. So he's not pregnant yet.
Right.
Yeah, I'm guessing
Yeah.
that Data just pets him to death, and then he has to get a new spot.
Yes.
And that's why it changes
Data
gender.
is Lenny. That's how it works. Spot is to Data as Zial is to Ducat.
Which is the all?
The cat's such a good guy.
He brings Spot to Dr. Crusher, and he's like, I was stroking his keratinous fibers, and
The weird-
then the rhythmic thrumming stopped.
The weird thing about Data is that he has shifts even though he doesn't need them.
No, man needs hobbies.
He
even if
probably
he's an android.
requested them in order to be human.
I suppose he could wish to take the time off anyway.
He does take the night shift sometimes, so that's nice. Dreams are the royal road to the knowledge of the mind. What does that even mean? That dreams are nonsense, Deanna. I've seen dreams
would
before.
leave
They didn't
aside
teach me
mysticism.
nothing.
they're just random neurons firing as far as we're aware at the moment. There could be something more specific to do with the processing of data from the day, but we don't have particular evidence for that. At the
I doubt
moment.
it's random because they're coherent story-wise within themselves.
Oh, I make up some great stories. Like, I should write
they're
them
not,
down
they're not
more
that
often.
coherent story-wise.
They're
kind of
coherent-ish.
I don't know about you, but
Yeah.
I can create movies when I'm dreaming, like actual movies. It's great. It's really.
That was a good
Like,
yawn,
That's really
Brent.
funny data.
This summer.
Man, yeah.
They knew too much.
Yeah, look at that
They were
makeup
in
close-up.
too
Looks
deep.
pretty good.
We're in too deep.
Zoom
HD
out.
close-up
Those
anti.
Those are my lines. So, if you're gonna come up with a movie in your dream, come up with a movie that fixes the Star Trek continuity.
It's
not
beyond
something that
fixing. You'd have to
consciously
throw out
happens, it
everything and just
just,
start over.
Yeah.
I'm
My
okay
brain
with
just
that as long
decides,
as Alex
okay,
Kurtzman
we're doing
isn't
an action
involved,
movie today.
Not everything's about Alex Kurtzman.
or Kathleen Kennedy. Not that she has ever been involved with Star Trek. I just want to keep her away.
That looks
And
like a
Michael Bay.
tasty
Anything
cake, by the
wrong.
way.
Yeah, the cake. Well, the frosting looks a little viscous. It looks a little thick.
It looks like Neelix had a hand in that, but you know.
It looks like a gel is what it looks like. I don't like it. Now, if they replace that weird gel frosting with, say, a buttercream, that would be a lot better.
I bet that weird gel frosting tastes amazing. But I always kind of thought it looked like Aquafresh toothpaste.
Kinda.
It probably tastes like prune juice as I wash so happy.
I think it was toothpaste. I think it was one of the gel toothpaste.
Are those LEDs in a straw? Or is there a little tube
Yeah.
behind?
No, it's
Jonathan's
rotoscoped.
Yeah,
It's
I did
rotoscoped.
post
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
This is also
you
the
have to see the
episode with
original.
your Android data plan.
Yeah.
We need the Verizon guy to pick up the phone and say, "Can you hear me now?" Good.
Ooh, that's a terrible knife for cutting a cake, Data. That's like the worst knife you're gonna get. It's gonna be awful. You're gonna get a bunch of cake lodged in the little holes in it.
So it bugs me that the knife that he's using in
Mm-hmm.
this dream actually resembles the thing he uses to stab her later. Like,
Yes.
why would he be prescient?
For the audience, so we can recognize it. Why is everyone standing there?
Why I just broke in, stand over him.
Overslept. He wasn't really sleeping exactly. Maybe you should just turn off the nightmare function until you can diagnose the problem.
You imagine your whole team busts in when you're late for a shift like that.
Worf, that's happened to
It is
Worf.
weird that there's the people
Doctor, I have a nightmare when I do this.
they become late to shifts and nothing much seems to
Yeah,
happen.
3
It's like,
senior officers
hey,
appear.
you're late to the shift, that's fine. Now we're gonna check up on you and make sure you're fine.
Should it really be everyone who's supposed to be on the bridge checking on him? Don't they have things to do up there? God, that would be so frustrating if you are late for a shift, you miss something important because your creator just decided that's going to happen. No fault of your own. It's not like you could have set an alarm to wake yourself. It's just programmed in that, no, you're going to miss today. Sucks for you. Has Data had regular dreams, or has he only had nightmares?
I wonder what the punishment would be if you were to turn up late regularly to your shift.
You get taken off rotation.
Well, it wasn't a knife exactly, Freud. That wasn't serrated, it just had holes in it. No, don't tell Freud about that. I can't tell if this episode is making fun of Freud or they're treating him as legit.
It clearly makes fun of him. Once he starts diagnosing Data, it's comical.
Okay, good. Is it also, hang on. I have a lot of questions about
You
Freud
make
now.
some
It
good
occurs to me
stories,
that I
though.
never studied anything about Freud other than he's a quack. What does he look like this? Is that what Freud looks like? No, Freud has a much taller head.
I don't think he was really considered a quack, just more eccentric. Because
I mean,
Freud
even though
said
people
that sometimes
say that
a
his-
cigar is just a cigar.
Yeah. People say that his theories are basically mostly nonsense, but he did like actually pioneer psychology as an idea. So like he does deserve some credit for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a very deep voice, Negus.
Very much like the Grand Negus himself.
Of course. Oh, speaking of deep voices, I need to look up a tutorial for something, so I found a YouTube video, because everything's a YouTube video tutorial, and it was very odd, but because it was clearly someone who had filtered their voice to be deeper.
What? What is Freud going on about here?
No, you do have a mother, Data. We're gonna meet her in a few episodes. But no, so it was bothering me so much that this person's voice was like twice as deep as it should be. So I went and downloaded the audio and messed with it myself. It's like, no, okay, this is a child, that's why. That's a child's voice. So I might be a paper. Polymorphously perverse individual.
There's an insult.
How big of a schedule could you possibly have, Freud? You don't even exist.
He thinks he has a schedule. He doesn't know.
There'd
he's
be
a
plenty of
hologram.
people actually using him on the ship, though.
Well,
Sigmund
considering
Freud
you
is
have
the
1,100
Vic Fontaine
people-
of the Enterprise.
Yeah, you have 1,100 people and one counselor Troy.
Oh, it's
mean-
Tracy. Maybe you could talk to Tracy. Admiral Nakamura. I think
Is
we know
she-
to Admiral Nakamura. I think he's a regular.
Does
Yeah,
Tracy
his
ever get
first
a line?
appearance
Yeah,
was
that guy.
in Measure of a Man.
Oh yeah,
He's
he
the one who-
was like, "Oh, this is
brought
Commander
Bruce
Maddox.
Maddox
Please take
forward.
care of him." That man. Yeah, Admiral Nakamura shows up all over the place. He's pretty cool.
He's
Doesn't
one of
have
the better
eyelashes
admirals
though, so that weirds me out.
by not doing anything terrible, which is, a low bar, but a bar nonetheless.
He just shows up, gives orders, and leaves. That's it. Or gets a situation report and leaves.
Yeah, but he doesn't plot to take over Starfleet or create a metaphasic cloak or
Does
Or
Ensign
phasing
Gates
cloak.
get any lines this episode? She's had lines before. Why doesn't she get to say things today? She needs to be able to talk in this episode for this to make sense. Uh-huh.
I feel like Scotty is yelling at Geordi, "What did I teach you? What did I teach you?"
buffer time.
Yeah, I also feel like he doesn't know just how to fix it. It was going to take that long.
Things take time, no matter how easy they might be. You gotta crawl in the conduits, you gotta turn some dials, gotta press some buttons. Oh yeah, she's evil. She's totally evil.
I have to get uncomfortably close to you to grab this tool, which we have several of in other cabinets.
A brace coil?
That's a brace coil.
That
I
brace
don't
coil
know, it
looks
like
weirdly familiar.
looks like a big stabby knife to me.
What kind of coil is it exactly?
Yeah.
A brace coil for bracing.
A brace coil.
Where's the coil part?
Whoa.
Oh.
That's interesting. Stab Jordy. Stab him in the neck. Stab the mouth.
All right. Yeah. See how the middle section is green?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever have that again later on. After they
To
get rid
be
of the
honest,
screen.
I've never paid attention enough to know one way or the other.
Yeah, but Data is dreaming right now, so it's fake.
He's not
Well, no, it's
exactly
it's not.
dreaming.
But
He's having
He's
a waking
daydreaming.
dream. Yeah, he's daydreaming. Answer the phone,
That
Data.
must be so convenient. No matter where you go, there's a phone.
Choose Verizon for
That's
unlimited data plan.
That's basically how it works in real life. It's just in your pocket instead of in your chest cavity.
well, I don't know where you
Can I-
keep your phone.
And I get it
but,
adapted so that it goes in my chest cavity.
yeah, I keep mine in my chest cavity.
Oh, he hasn't stabbed anyone yet. I thought that was happening immediately. It's probably happening right after this scene.
Would you stab your best friend if a weird mouth appeared in the back of his neck?
Yes. Stabbing is
I would
always good.
I would stab my best friend if I had one.
Would you stab your best friend for a
Oh.
Klondike bar?
Yes.
Okay.
You talking about? I'd stab my best friend for a push pop.
What about a
How
ring
about for
pop?
a cellular peptide cake?
With vanilla frosting?
Mint frosting.
Oh.
Have we already had parallels?
No, that's coming up.
Okay, good. I found a little nugget.
I mean, I guess Soma's probably never seen Parallels before, because he's some kind of crazy person who hasn't seen every episode of every Star Trek series.
Parallels is next week, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's a lot of hair volume, Troy.
I may have seen
Yeah,
some.
that's a terrible wig.
Yeah, it's a wig.
That's going to take forever to dry when you wash it.
I like how Data is
Face
visibly
needs to stay
excited by the idea of being psychoanalyzed.
Yeah.
That's because it makes him more human.
Oh, that's why Data stabs Troy, because she was trying to end the dreams. She's a threat that needs to be eliminated. Take the knife. Use it.
How's that a brace? It is just a weird ass knife.
It's not a brace, it's a brace coil.
Maybe the coil's in the handle, who knows?
Can't even tell the difference between a brace and a brace coil. The man's an idiot.
Thank you, Joseph. What? Why are you being so petty about this, Nakamura? He has a legitimate engineering problem. It's not like it's his personal fault that the warp core's messed up.
Because he's managed to avoid it 7 years or 6 years in a row prior
he's,
to
he's
this.
thinking that this is just an excuse.
Just send a tow ship.
Oh, you were assimilated by the Borg? Likely story, Picard. I expect you at this banquet. Resistance is futile.
That's why the walk cores went green.
I expect you to come around and assimilate all of us personally.
Wait, did he specifically say 6 years in a row?
Yes.
Because
At
that's
the
how many
beginning,
other
yeah.
years of Star Trek there have been, of TNG.
That's
Whoa,
Under
that's so
the-
consistent.
In the first episode.
What? Yeah, I guess he just can't go because there's always something crazy happening.
He did specifically say he's been making excuses.
There was the one time he started to turn into a lemur monkey.
So this is season 6. So if we assume that it happens always on season... This is episode 6, and if we assume it always happens on episode 6, that banquet. I want to look up what those episodes are.
Picard just wants something to do.
Come and push the trolley, Picard.
Okay, the last time, in the first season, episode 6 was Where No One Has Gone Before, where they were catapulted more than 1 billion light years from the galaxy. Like,
So they were in another galaxy.
sorry,
That's fair.
Nakamura. I was in a different galaxy at the time. I couldn't make it. I was a little too far away.
I would say that he did say at least some of them were excuses, but there have been natural things going on in the Enterprise, of course.
Schizoid Man season 2, where Data was possessed by the scientist. I don't think he took control of the ship though. He just punched a few people.
Season 3 was Booby Trap.
Yep. So they were
stuck.
trapped in an asteroid field. A likely
Unless
story,
we ever forget Picard's inability to count the number of lights.
of course.
That was never touched on again, was it? The Ira Graves thing? It's just like, yeah, he's information in the computer now.
Yeah.
End the episode.
Just like Deep Space Nine has a little puppy living inside it, except when the computer gets wiped. And then destroyed by when the Dominion takes over. Season 5 was The Game, where the entire ship was taken over by, the game.
Troy was like, "Oh, it's only you, Data. I thought it was Riker stalking me again."
There's an outtake where Worf and Troy go into the elevator together, and things happen.
Like stabby stabby. There's absolutely no way they could overpower him here.
No. Riker, how is that working? That Riker's blocking that attack. That's the kind of situation where you need a gun. I like how there are several security officers, all of them with guns, but they're a little too close to Data.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he could
some
just
sort of mouth.
overpower everybody. He'd flip the table.
You can't be too close to
Incapacitate
someone when you
them.
have a gun. Otherwise, they're gonna have time to just kill you before you can pull it.
I'll take that wager, Ryan.
You want me to have a knife at a foot away from you, and you try to pull a gun before I can stab you?
There've been several tests on the possibility of it.
What is it, like 20 feet or something?
Yeah, it's considered lethal at like 21 feet or 30 feet, depends.
Which, they're a little bit closer than 23 feet.
Yeah.
And he's an android.
And Data's much faster. Did you really need to completely change your clothes to...
I thought that was just a medical blanket, but no, it's
Yeah.
actually a medical dress.
The rest of her clothes were covered in stabby blood wounds.
And the uniforms are one piece, so if you take off part of it, the whole thing has to come off.
I suppose.
She lost a lot of blood. It didn't seem like she lost a lot of blood.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
she
but he
seemed
kept
fine.
stabbing.
It was just like a little
Like-
tiny hole.
The scene cut away and he kept going.
But there was no blood in the turbolifter on the rest of her uniform.
Yeah, it was just like this tiny little hole.
Maybe the coil sucked the blood out.
I've had nosebleeds worse than this, Deanna.
Maybe the carpet is very absorbent.
Why is her first
Self-
instinct in
self-cleaning
interface with
turbo
him?
lift.
An interphasic scanner.
Because there was an interphasic residual signature.
Okay. I wasn't paying attention closely enough.
I guess Deanna's lucky that her mouth thing wasn't on her neck.
So this is very American. They all have sidearms in their rooms.
Of course.
I mean, it's a military vessel now, basically. Borg and all that.
Do you not have a gun in your room, Soma?
No.
Why don't you have a gun?
I have several.
Yeah, that's to make up for the fact that Soma doesn't.
Yeah.
I have a phaser in my room. It's entirely plastic, 3D printed, but I have
It's
one.
not a real phaser?
Does it work?
It doesn't work.
In my imagination, I can point at it and make pew pew sounds.
Do you have psionic powers? You could literally make it work.
He is a good cat
once.
and a pretty cat.
Did you, Argos? I think in Warhammer 40,000 that's why orc technology works. Is that orc technology is all just trash, but they're getting
Yes.
know that they're such powerful.
Yeah, they
psychics.
believe it works, therefore it works.
Right.
A good
This is
cat.
a very
I
it's a
feel
very
you,
well
Data.
behaved cat.
So, Michael, if you just believe hard enough,
The
that
phaser,
phaser
will work.
Yeah, you just have
Okay.
to believe, and if it
you
doesn't
have,
work, then
complete blind faith that it works, then it will.
it's just your fault if it doesn't work.
I guess
Gotcha.
I'm also not a real American. I don't have a gun close to hand. I do have a knife, but it's also attached to pliers and a screwdriver and a bottle
Do
opener.
you have a projectile weapon
is it
of
a
any
Gerber?
kind?
No, it's a Leatherman.
Oh, Leatherman. Okay, that's good.
Leatherman Wingman, it says. Both words
What?
have a
Actually,
register mark for some reason.
I have a Remington wingman.
A Remington ring.
Oh, that was nice enough to stay on the outside of her sleeve.
Yeah. Very convenient, very helpful. Oh, we found it. So if I look up Leatherman Wingman, it's not... Oh, no, there it is. Never mind, I just mistyped. Yeah, they increased the prices on it for some reason. Who... What are you doing, Robo?
You loading your weapon?
Terran leeches.
Frosting.
I think you can do a good Worf impression there.
Thermal protons as opposed to what other kind of protons?
Antithermal?
What does thermal proton even mean?
There's only protons.
Does thermal proton just mean
They
a really hot hydrogen atom?
they had the
I guess
technobabble.
so.
The technobabble people just fill stuff
We tried
in
heating them up. We tried poking them with stick. No, didn't work.
No,
Hi,
Data
guys.
doesn't have blood to leech off of.
They were really out of ideas this episode.
Some sort of
I guess it was a
mouth.
cheap episode though. They just had to strap a straw to his head.
Well, they had to do
wrote this
a bunch of
episode?
CG for the mouth things.
Yeah, like
How
when
do you
saw-
do you think the rotoscoping costs a lot?
when
At
you
that
saw Beverly
time?
deliver
Yeah.
the line about how we're all gonna collapse into a pile of chemicals? It was like she kind of didn't. I don't know.
Why is this plate so prominent in this scene? I mean, I like it, but why?
It's a nice plate, that's why. They have to show it off. They spend money on that.
Yeah, this is a
Good.
Brennan Braga episode. That explains why it's so terrible.
It's not terrible. It's just
It's
weird.
not
I mean, it's
terrible.
it's
It's just the
weird,
concept.
and its concept is pretty thin,
Yeah,
and it's
When
it relies on the weirdness more than having a good episode behind it.
Also,
which
that's
is
true. They
Brennan
did
Braga's
save money
calling
by
card.
not paying the extras. The extras
Right.
didn't have lines this episode.
like when Data was stabbing Troy, that was completely like the filming, like, who even asked for that shot? It was outside the character of the whole show. We never see him like that again.
That's Brendan Braga's thing, though. Like that's
Yeah.
something that he does with a lot of TNG episodes.
What, just get weird with it?
Shtick changes as it gets more developed as a writer, which is not very much. But
Did he was he responsible for masks as well?
I believe so.
Like, the whole thing
TNG
doesn't, but of
masks.
course,
Let me check.
the thing that you highlighted,
No.
Mike, yeah, totally.
That was
Masks was written
Minosky.
by Joe Minosky, who does a lot of
He is
shit.
responsible for Genesis.
I love that episode.
He's responsible for Genesis, which is the episode where everybody de-evolves.
Okay, but
yeah, but that's
Oh, I liked
okay,
Genesis.
that makes
It's a
sense.
good episode.
Because it's just like the juxtaposition of shots
define
that's like
good.
unusual is good cinematography for him.
I want to see the memorial on the Enterprise for all the crewmen that Worf ate during that period of time.
I was gonna say earlier, sorry, eating people kind of freaks me out. Including Ryan's replicator theory, because
They have
I
all
noticed
a
that
human
we've got
body has all the
deliberately large
human
table here.
has all the nutrients that a human body needs.
oh, maybe I should excuse myself.
That's
for this.
true.
How long would
Ryan
it take
makes a
to
good
drink
point.
Riker?
This is like body
You-
gore right now.
You are what you eat. Eat a person, be a person.
Yeah, that's
So,
the most human thing you can do.
More weird shit that Brendan Braga's responsible for in this season. Sub Rosa, Emergence.
I mean, he has a title to every episode at the end, but I understand what you're saying. He's
No,
I mean,
not on TNG. He was just our staff writer on TNG.
okay.
Damn, Deanna, you tasty.
Okay,
Good correction.
give us
John
a
Jason's
quick
time.
list of the weird episodes that he has made in the season.
Sorry, let me shut up.
There's this and Emergence. What else?
Sub Rosa.
Eye of the Beholder, which is the one where Deanna has a telepathic episode and almost kills herself.
Yep.
Eye of the Beholder.
Oh, is that the
Look.
one where she's like in the abyss or the void or something?
No, that's the one where
No.
she has the entire episode is a telepathic hallucination where she thinks Worf cheats on her and she almost jumps into the engine.
Yeah,
Oh,
the premise
right,
of the
right,
episode
right,
is
yeah.
Lieutenant Quan commits suicide by jumping into a warp coil.
I generally skip that
He can-
episode.
Liaisons,
okay,
he
so we
was
have to
he
forgive
was
him for everything else.
uncredited on Liaisons, but that's a
Oh,
weird
nice.
episode.
Come on. I mean, like, the thing is, you have 7 seasons. You have a lot of material to fill. You have to give the kooky writer some of his directorial control. Oh, I was gonna say about Dr. Freud.
Is that the
Um,
kind of advice Freud gives? Kill them before it is too late.
When you guys quoted Deanna's line about the dreams are the royal road to the unconscious, what I said is that's a quote of Dr. Freud. He said, "Dreams are the royal road to the unconscious."
Well, Dr.
so-
Freud doesn't know what he's talking about. Dreams are nonsense.
No,
Nothing,
I'm saying-
nothing.
so if you read his dream interpretation or Jung's dream interpretation, you never take one dream and then just try to exegete that. You have to take the patient's every single dream for like 2-3 months under your care and take them all into like a scientific analysis.
Yeah,
Do you
that's
ever
not a
have
real thing.
dreams? Do you ever have dreams where your teeth are falling out?
Yes.
That's supposed to mean that you're out of control, losing control of something.
I think it's
No,
supposed to mean that I
Freud.
don't floss enough.
What,
That
if
too.
you-
Supposed
if
to
you
mean
had a
you just
dream-
had a weird fucking dream.
If you had a dream that you're on a height that's too tall, which I have all the time, it means that like you were too ambitious or you had too much on your plate.
When I was a
Or
kid,
it
I had a
means nothing.
recurring nightmare where I would just be in my room and nothing. There would be like no monsters or anything. It's just the room would stretch out infinitely and become infinitely long to the door.
Wow. I don't know what that means, but wow.
I don't
That
think it
sounds
means
like an
anything other
escape
than it was
dream.
freaky.
Something.
Dreams don't
That's-
mean anything. They are complete nonsense.
Yeah.
There is no scientific analysis of dreams.
I don't think that's correct, but I
They're
don't think they
symbols
have
that
as
your
much
mind's
meaning.
digesting
as we think we do.
consciously, and they have incredible meaning in terms of how your mind integrates subconsciously.
No, that's not real.
Okay, let's
well, I
move
would
on.
say that since
Oh,
people
look,
who do
people.
not dream tend to go crazy, dreams are kind of important.
I mean, I don't write down my dreams or anything, but I'm just saying like it's pretty important.
I'm not
Anyway,
saying they don't serve a physiological purpose, but there is no interpretation that you can get
Data
from
screaming is really
dreams.
unique. I will agree with that.
Look, it's Data
Causes
shrieking.
me pain as well.
Yeah,
it's quite annoying in the viewer's end as well.
Could we have chosen a sound that maybe doesn't hurt the audience's ears?
Yeah.
Something
Not-
like
They knew we'd be arguing about. So they
No, not that sound. That's a worse sound. Also, it seems
God
fairly
Data never
dangerous for them to
worked
hook
on
up
that.
data to the holodeck like this. We've tried this before, and it never works well.
Christopher Nolan saw this episode and was taking extensive notes.
This is the first time hooking data
military-
into the ship's computer didn't ruin everything.
Using like a sound blast is a form of crowd control by militaries. You can also use microwaves to like sizzle their skin just a little bit. and then
Yeah,
keep
that's
in there.
that's fucked up though.
But,
I mean,
well,
that's-
I mean, consider
You
that
predicted it.
if you need some nutrients, humans supposed to taste like pork, and you need to cook your pork. Can't just eat it raw. Just microwave some protesters.
What?
What?
You should try some cheek meat or sweetbreads.
Oh look,
I
see,
hear those are pretty good when it comes to people meat.
the
So
workmen
I have
were how Data figured out through his dream how to kill the little parasites that were eating us all.
yep.
So having
But
not finished that sentence,
effectively-
Michael, I assume you're going to say, I have tried human before, and that doesn't taste like it at all.
No, it wasn't quite that gross. So I don't know how many of you guys know, but pigs are extremely similar to humans in a lot of ways.
We use them for medical
Um,
transplants.
And I have been to a pig roast where people buy an
pigs.
entire pig and roast it, and the cheek meat was probably the best part.
Yeah, cheek meat is super good.
When I watched Mythbusters, and when you test a cannonball for like humans, like you fire it through the carcass of a pig because the internal organs is very much the same. The resistance of a
Yeah,
human
internal
corpse.
organs, musculature, flesh, it's all very similar to
You
humans.
can pull the blood out of a
So-
human, filter it through a pig's organs, and then send it back to the human, all cleaned up.
Yeah, and
Now-
before,
For a pig, it's been used as a water filtration, essentially.
Yeah, pigs are used for
what
water,
you're saying
for water
is
blood filters.
what you're saying is there is a delicious forbidden bacon that no one here has tried.
Yes.
What, human cheek?
Human?
Human
bacon?
bacon,
Yeah.
yes.
At least that nobody here will admit to having tried.
Yeah, there's no way someone's going to admit to being a cannibal.
Well, what if the other person was consenting?
sure.
This is-
Army Hammer or Arnie
It's-
Hammer, whatever his name is.
There has been cases where people have consented to be eaten, but it's extreme grey area stuff.
Yeah, one dude got
Um,
his leg amputated, and he got to take it home, and he cooked it up and made
Yeah, I saw
human meat
that.
tacos. That guy.
I thought it was fajitas, but yeah, I saw that.
Something like that. And him
The
and his
distinction
friends.
between tacos
he
and
served
fajitas
it.
is probably
No,
not the
there
important
was
part
a
of this
guy who,
conversation.
Yes.
who literally got eaten to death, but he helped eat himself with the other
Oh,
guy.
speaking of cannibalism, holy shit. I forgot about this.
Sorry
Right, to
about
just-
your nightmare. Here.
Why is he not using the coil?
He's using an actual cake knife.
Deanna brought something flat, dull, and not pointed to make sure that she.
I don't know, Data
I think
could make
Data
it
could
work.
do some serious damage with that, no matter
Yeah,
what.
I'm pretty sure he could still stab her with it.
I
Oh,
don't
sure,
think
Data
that's
could.
really the issue, though. Data doesn't need a weapon to kill somebody. He's made of metal.
right.
Yeah, that's true.
If you didn't know, Freud said a cigar is sometimes just a cigar, so that's why she said a cake is just a cake.
Yeah, no, she says that line in this
earlier
episode.
episodes.
Specifically to Data.
Oh, Naren Shankar
You-
is the story editor of this.
You think he could just like crush her, just like
Crusher.
squish her head between his hands?
I was gonna say about eating people. Ryan, do you want to start the timer or something?
First I need to
It
change the
barely
title
over.
to Dark
Is this a contest? Are we?
The I had a teacher, English teacher in 8th grade who was kind of into like conspiracy theories, like fluoride in the water is gonna kill you or drive you crazy. But other than that, he was a really nice guy because like he taught us about Vietnam and stuff. But
1 minute.
So one thing though, he said he taught us he was really into the mad cow disease epidemic. I guess around 2003 or whenever that was, and so 2002, and so the reason those cows got mad cow disease is like from I think prions, but the farmers were giving them cows that were like had other cow meat in them. So like when you feed these farm animals, they don't even care. You put like garbage in it or waste or straw.
It was pellets that had
Yeah,
like
or
partial cow
and
meat.
like right, and also like like meat that's not fit to serve humans, and then hay or whatever, all chopped up and fed together. And okay, maybe it had cows in it. So that's how they went crazy. But anyway, they found. Oh, but he also taught us, and it was in the news though. Like cannibals in Papua New Guinea or somewhere, they have mad cow disease just from eating people. So like biologically, it's just not a great idea to eat your own species.
Well, everybody get ready to
Yes.
press play in 5, 4,
I'm done.
3, 2, 1, play.
That's a
Don't
bit of a misnomer to call it mad cow disease because it's not really specific to cows. It's just
Yeah,
a
and
breed
cows aren't
disease that
even
we've
mad.
named.
They're the most
Oh.
relaxed animals I've ever seen.
I also find it interesting that we feed animals that we are going to eat stuff that we won't eat.
Right.
That degrades the quality of the meat that comes from them.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
You don't eat grass, but
think
grass-fed meat's pretty good.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
the
well,
mad cow
obviously,
stuff
but
was.
I'm
they called-
talking more about like stuff that's like
Cellulose,
almost rotten or
plastic, yeah,
go low grade or whatever.
like
Yeah.
filler.
I think all the mad cow stuff was late 90s, early 2000s because I went to the UK in 2001 and customs was very concerned when I came back that I hadn't brought any dairy products with me
Yes.
and specifically cited mad cow.
Yeah. I mean,
So well, I guess I'll wait till he actually shows up on screen.
that was the
But
year
the
2000.
main dude here weirds me out.
You're right.
I don't.
He's weird, and so is Kirsten Dunst here. She has a weird voice in this episode.
And you can see her brain on the side of her head.
There's nothing.
But you
wrong
can see
at
that
least
for
her
everyone in this
skull isn't
species.
transparent.
That's how they're made. That's okay.
Are these people Galamites?
No, it's
Yeah.
not transparent.
No,
Hey,
you can just see the whole brain. It's just there.
stop
Well,
kidding.
you don't know that it's a brain. It could just be some type of sensory organ that you're not familiar with.
Looks an awful lot
Use your
like a brain to
telepathy.
me.
It's a
It's
brain.
Play-Doh stuck to the side of her head.
That's what the makeup department came up with. That was going to be easy to do. A half dozen people.
No, they're apparently called the Cairn.
The Cairn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they.
You-
Oh, hey, what's her name? Tracy. How could I
'Cause
forget Tracy's name?
Once
She's here though. There she is.
they learn, they're called the Karen because once they learned to talk, all they could say was, "I want to speak to the manager."
No, they're called the Cairn because they lead Counselor Troy down the path to discovering
Tracy's
her
behind
dead
the shot
child
too.
and Troy's dead sister.
You know, season 7 TNG is kind of hit or miss. No offense, Ryan. I know you love Sub Rosa.
Oh yeah. No, this season is not great. It's not terrible. Like it's definitely not
Yeah.
season 1 terrible.
You
but
know what
it's-
else isn't great?
It's got plenty of
Deanna's
misses.
dress.
What the hell is she wearing?
So that dude, that main telepath man, he looks like a villain, but he's not the villain. But whenever I watch this episode, I think it's like, wait, is this the one where he goes and like steals someone's memories and forces himself into their dreams? No, that's a different guy. This guy just looks evil.
That was a
Yeah.
couple of seasons ago.
That was the son, but yeah, he looks like he's about to pull that
He
off.
looks like he's from the Alien movie Back to the Future.
Also, I'm
You know,
pretty sure that's the Praetor.
Shinzon?
No, the young Romulan Praetor from Unification. I forget his name.
Is it? I don't know.
I don't know. It's Norman Large.
Cool.
The guy who was pretending like he wanted unification. Oh,
Okay, to
Proconsul
bring out all
Neural.
the
That was his
misfits.
name. Yes, he is Proconsul
Yeah,
Neural.
that's him.
Oh, right. Good observation. Hey, I don't know.
Here's an interesting point. The universal translator translates languages to the intent of the words. So, and they're using a vocal processor, so surely they could just tie that into the universal translator and make it work better.
Yeah,
Yep.
the universal translator doesn't even work on words, so why is this an issue?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, here's what I realized also, like with this episode, the writers are just throwing so much technical babble at us that they know that like no one's paying attention to this, or if anyone's paying attention to this, we're just gonna be like, what? That doesn't even make sense. It's not how it works. Like parasite cell cause you to collapse into a bunch of chemicals. Like at the like
Yeah.
molecular parasites. Like that's kind of a weird. It just it doesn't. That's not how anything works. You know, Crusher. But
Hi,
so
Stars.
hey stars.
Bye, Stars.
I'm gonna miss this show, but I'm just saying they're really pushing it in terms of like the techno babbles that they're throwing at us, because the science they're just butchering it. And I mean, I love
Yes.
Parallels, by the
I mean,
way.
Oh,
Parallels
come
is
on.
you have
great,
to-
so don't say
The
anything about
episode where
Parallels
the
in front of me.
Enterprise becomes sentient and sends off a little space baby to New Verderon City,
Yeah.
that's some of the finest sci-fi I've ever seen.
Yeah, I like that episode too. Actually, I'm not even talking about
The
that.
rest you are, it's the best.
Like this stuff, you know, it's just
You have to remember also that the public's understanding of like
Yeah.
general science has increased a lot since the show was even made.
right.
So our ability to say that's a bunch of crap has went way up since the show was
Yes.
created.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. But look, the writers also knew. But I'm saying, so the writers knew that they were doing that. That even somebody who was understanding this, though, like 20 years, even 40 years down the line, should, you know, like they don't talk about string theory much, but like I said, some of it's great science. Like I think Parallels is a wonderful introduction to quantum science, and I would challenge anybody to that any day, because it is random possibilities, right? It's Schrodinger's cat. Like the Federation could be overrun by the Borg, you know, as we speak,
Yeah.
and you'll see your favorite character get
I
slaughtered.
mean, the inherent problem with it is it's really quite difficult. It's not impossible, obviously, because they managed it in quite a lot of episodes, but it's quite difficult to make an interesting show about sci-fi that's also technically accurate, but a compelling thing to watch.
Yeah.
The audio
Kirsten
there was
Dunst.
not in sync.
Mm-hmm.
That was overdubbed. Also, this guy was a doctor last episode. He was the nurse that helped with Counselor Troy. Why is he in a red shirt here? Who's this guy? Does he have a
In the
twin
back.
in command?
He looks like he needs to do a Picard maneuver. His uniforms are riding up a
He
little bit.
does.
He kind of looks a little bit like Bill Murray.
Mm-hmm.
What is this guy's
He
job
just-
that he's switching departments every episode?
Just got done busting ghosts. The Enterprise probably has lots of ghosts.
Mm-hmm. Jerry Taylor was on Voyager, right? Michael Pillar too.
Sure.
Michael Pillar's decent.
Oh, I meant to look at who the writer was for this episode. I didn't pay attention. Let me look it up. TNG Dark Page. Who was this? This was written by Hilary Bader and directed by Les Landau. I don't know who Hilary Bader is. She did The Loss, where Counselor Troy lost her telepathic powers, and Hero Worship, where that kid was emulating Data.
Oh, I hate that episode.
For TNG, she did
I
a
like
few DS9 and one Voyager thing as well.
Who doesn't want to?
The Loss is just a terrible episode.
It is. He's showing up in her office. He looks evil.
He's
It feels like he's plotting
sounds-
something.
It sounds like he's speaking through a voice modulator.
He is speaking through a voice modulator.
and so is the girl, right? Before Kirsten
Yeah,
Dunst?
all the aliens in this species, this is their first time ever speaking vocally. So they have little devices to help them.
Oh, they're kind of like the bad guys from the Menagerie.
Sort of, but I
Less
think the
powerful.
concept here is more that they have been, the species is predominantly telepathic and they didn't really have a concept of language, which is what
Mm.
Luoxana was trying to teach them and why
That's
they're
amazing.
having difficulty with language now.
That's amazing that they just jumped language and went straight to like understanding.
Yes, I would assume communicating with Loxana Troy is very different. Probably freaked him out.
Hey, Kevin.
Dark. Dark? Like a page of
The
her
page.
life? That's called privacy. Leave her alone. You don't have to probe the deepest depths of her mind. You can just talk. What is privacy? Yeah, that seems awful.
Yeah, it is like a dark
Yeah.
page, isn't it?
You can't hide anything from anyone. I mean, I get...
It's
If
hard.
I mean, if
someone-
your entire society is built on it, it's obviously going to be possible to do, but ours isn't.
So, suppose that one of the Cairn wants to murder someone. Wants to commit some
Or-
crime.
Hmm.
They have
or
that thought
wants
in their
to
mind, and then
marry
they pass
someone
by
else's
someone on the
spouse.
street, and that person's like, "Wait, what? You're gonna what?"
Yeah.
Isn't there an
Just get caught
episode?
immediately.
Is it an episode of Voyager where there's something similar to that, and because
Yeah, the thought police.
Alana goes down,
There's
yeah, she thinks
there's-
like a little violent thought, and they just get on her.
yes, and then there's an episode of
Random
oh
thoughts.
no,
is
that
the
was
name of that
Voyager,
one.
right?
And-
The void, and then Tuvok gives him like all these horrible images, and like
Yeah, and the screaming
There's
and the
actual-
blood and
right, there's an actual underground like basically drug dealers that were selling bad thoughts to people.
Yeah, that was a good episode. Actually.
He's like, "Oh, you want some bad thoughts?" And it's like, "I got some bad thoughts for you. I've seen some stuff."
Yeah, I believe the line he uses is, "You don't understand the truth of violence," and it's just like, whoa, Tuvok.
And that one time, Tuvok's emotional suppression goes away, and it turns out he's just actually
Who's
evil.
that old guy in the back there?
When
Wow,
Tuvok
somebody
has
played
emotions,
it
he just
right
wants
there.
to kill everyone. He's just a bad
A
guy.
piece of her mind.
Well, it's because he melded with a person who was like extremely murderous, wasn't it?
Yeah. With the Grima
Hey,
Wormtongue,
that-
yes.
He does
Which-
basically say to Janeway,
Yes.
like, "You're wrong about everything," and he like goes at her for a while.
Who would name their kid Grima, and who, if their
Who's
name
that?
was Wormtongue, would not go to the court and petition to have it changed?
I mean, Wormtongue is not his name. That is a
No.
That is
It's his
something
name in
that
the
he
movies.
Yeah.
his
Wait,
actual
I'm-
name is different than Wormtongue. I don't remember what it is, but he does have a name other than Wormtongue.
Yeah.
We have a midi-chlorian moment on this show, in that it's said Dr. Crusher just said that telepathy is caused by a neurotransmitter called psilocybin.
Yeah, it's not exactly midichlorians because like you're just supposed to believe that the Force in Star Wars is just kind of this thing that happens throughout the galaxy, but like having a physiological reason for telepathy makes a lot more sense than just
Yeah.
the Force does.
I'm looking at the
It's
Lord of the
supposed to be
Ring
different
wiki.
features
He
for
doesn't
different
have a last
species in
name
Star
listed.
Trek, as opposed to
Grima.
Star Wars. It was supposed to be a mythical thing.
No, it was supposed to be, but episode 1 makes it into a biological thing because he has an astonishing number of midichlorians in his blood, higher than anybody ever met. Like off the charts.
Hmm.
That's why he's the
Yeah,
chosen
it
one.
was probably George Lucas thought of it as a shortcut to say he's more powerful than people would realize as a kid, but it kind of messed up the idea of the Force.
Yeah, it totally messed it up.
Also, midichlorians, for the record, are not the Force. Midichlorians are just attracted to Force-sensitive individuals relative to how Force powerful they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I couldn't find a last name for Grima Wormtongue. It's just his title is Grima the Wormtongue, which
I see
is a
what you're
really
saying.
rude title. I feel like Theoden should put a stop to that. I was like, look, man, he's my chief advisor. You gotta have him pay him some respect.
It's like barnacles on a whale, huh, Ryan? The midichlorians. It's just attracted
Yes.
to Force individuals.
They just show up.
Thank you.
I mean, the neurotransmitter thing does make perfect sense because we do have neurotransmitters, and when they are depleted of that particular emotion, you feel tired and thin.
Dopamine for happiness.
Yes,
Yeah.
alternatively, midi-chlorians, I don't think that's true. But if they did power the Force, then they would essentially just be mana points. You just expend
What's
mana,
that?
then you regain it.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Also, yeah, I don't think they have real birds in the Arboretum. Not even, like, in the set. But I mean, in canon, I don't think they're real birds. Just
How
bird
about
noise.
holographic birds?
This episode's pretty crazy.
No, we applied the cortical stimulators, but we were unable to get a neural reaction from either patient. Look, it's that same guy, and he's in a nurse's uniform again. To the right of Dr. Crusher, if we get a wide shot again, which we won't, because now I've pointed it out, so we won't get to see him again.
This does actually make some kind of sense in what's happening to Loxana.
Telepathic lobe. They have the lobes for telepathy. Interesting. Do the Ferengi keep their lobes in their lobes?
What?
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 The lobes
What
and the
lobes?
lobes. The brain lobes
Are
and their
there-
ear lobes.
Yeah.
No, I doubt it.
That would make the lobes for business make a lot more sense.
I
Are those
understand what you're saying.
just tomatoes
So-
painted yellow?
Yes.
And that pun would also exist in Ferengi language too. The lobe and the lobe.
See, now even the episode's trying to push like, oh, this guy's hiding something. He's evil. He has a plan.
And like you said, he looks like another villain. So like we've set up other people to be like telepathic rapists, basically.
It doesn't help that this guy plays a villain in other episodes.
Also, this is unsettling as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that expression. Jesus. Calm down, Norman.
Yeah,
Why do you
he
look
does
so
really
angry?
play out to be a bad guy.
Yeah. So like we already know, like once you have the creepy looking telepathic guy, we already know Troy's gonna have a close up of a telepathic incident. Like
Unfortunately,
And-
Troy, you're half Betazoid. You can't even do it.
Hmm.
You have a trash brain. You and all your human friends. That's not really misunderstanding. That's very specifically what he said was happening.
Hmm.
He asked
Yeah,
Loxana
that's the
about it, and
same
was like,
thing.
no, that was private.
that's really interesting.
Some kind of trauma.
But like you would imagine, like just like evolution wise, they would have some in their psyche, some kind of shield to like from like extreme trauma, right? Because like when you were talking about the Vulcan thing, like do you want violence? Yeah, like you want to see violence, and it's like if somebody like just like someone spamming a server with like ridiculous things, it's like you need to filter that.
I'm wondering about the logistics of this telepathy. If they can just target it at a single person, and if they can the receiver just like forward the message to other people around them? Or do they have to receive the message and then tell it to someone else in their own telepathic voice?
Can you set up an out of office message in your own brain? I'm not here right now. Please stop talking
Well,
to me.
if you can, then Luoxana will have one here, but I don't think she does.
Like your eyes do, like eventually stop looking. You know when
Oh,
you
look,
look
out
at the
of
sun.
she has an out of office message.
Hey, Ari.
Yep.
She does. We solved
Hey,
it. Wow.
that's not an out of office message. That's like I'm in the house locked message.
No, the
She
lights are
does
on,
get
but nobody's
really-
home. Except the lights are off.
She does. Yeah. Luoxana does get really hostile when Deanna tries to help her, though.
Yeah.
Leave me alone, hostile in a way that's disturbing.
I mean,
Jeez, how much
Look,
are they just trying
you
to make
can't-
him look evil?
Pushing
You-
Norman being the villain again, yes.
you you can't share certain kinds of pain, and like I'm not a mother, but that's what this is, you know. Like, certainly not with your child. Like, it's not unless your child has been through the same thing. I would assume. This guy.
How are you helping Makeweez? Oh, look at the reflection of Makeweez on the table. He has 2 ears in the reflection.
It's a great reflection. Were they like photoshopping the camera or something?
No, it's just a real glossy table.
Yep. Something.
This is very weirdly presented.
It is. Also, Norman's shirt I'm also looking at here. It's very, very shiny, very sequiny.
Could he explain it to somebody else? Like, why does he have to?
No,
Wait,
everyone
because he
else's
doesn't-
brains are too primitive.
Okay.
He doesn't have the language, I don't think, is what they're trying
He's
to say.
only
Maybe.
telepathic with other telepaths.
No, but you could. Okay, right, but you could beam your thoughts without words into me. Like
That's what
I'll
he
get
did.
it. No, I know, but to Picard, I'm saying like spare
he
Deanna for
can't.
once, please.
He can't because Picard's brain isn't compatible.
Okay.
They've established that.
Sorry.
It's like trying to plug a USB into an HDMI port. Even if you can
Okay.
even if you can jam it in there, you're not going to be able to get any data out of it.
Okay. I mean, but you know,
Data or data?
like
You're
like
definitely
we
What is
not
my
said,
gonna
name?
get data.
The other is not.
Dana.
You
Yes.
know, Vulcan's telepathy is kind of like up in the air. Are they or are they not?
Yeah, they are. Very
Yeah,
much so.
Turns out
Definitely
telepathic. We
It's
see that in
It's not up in
Discovery.
the air. It's very much established that they're telepathic.
Yeah, we have
Okay,
the
but
mind
they-
mode, but
they
we
need
do also have in
They
fact,
need touch.
actually, we have Toucher for Picard and
The
TNG.
extent of their
which is
telepathy
expanded
is
in Discovery.
inconsistent.
Okay, so could he talk to a Vulcan?
Probably.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
Find
that
out
guy would be
data.
up in the air. I'm not just.
A Vulcan
Look.
could definitely do it if they're willing to do it.
The Vulcan crew members are only acknowledged to exist if it services the plot. Okay.
What-
All right.
I mean,
have
we also have an instance
Vorak?
where
He should be on the ship.
where they have telepaths on the ship that Deanna can't communicate with. Like the Yulians in the telepathic rape episode, she specifically says that she can't read Yulians at all. So, like,
Hmm.
there
Oh,
are
yeah.
different kinds of telepathy that are not compatible.
Okay.
Norman, why do you look so angry when you're doing this?
Is he capable of not looking
You know
evil?
what it is? It's like his thoughts aren't our thoughts, so like his facial expressions aren't our facial expressions. That's him smiling, you know.
Also, when they communicate with each other, do they look that intensely at each other? Like within their own species?
Maybe. Oh, look, we're using that same wide-angle lens and that same hallway from the last episode.
It's
mean,
a
there's probably only, like,
different
one
focal
hallway.
length there. They've adjusted the camera to give it a bit more ethereal look.
Oh, that was to engineering. You could see a little bit of the lighting on the set there down that hallway. That's engineering.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
I think
Right.
there's only one hallway on stage 9.
Yes.
They just reuse it.
Yeah.
Engineering's down that way. Then further ahead, I think we just passed Worf's quarters.
So yeah, the This area here is engineering itself. This is the engineering area.
Yes.
They just have the warp core blocked off. And in engineering, if you look on the sides, there's those two like tan panels that are up that have a bunch of displays and stuff, and it looks all technical. Those are literally just blocking off the ends of the hallways.
We see this lounge area sometimes. We saw it in Liaisons. They put it up occasionally.
Now, when Data's having the dreams, is that liaisons?
No, Liaisons was with the
one.
3 ambassadors.
Yeah.
Riva?
Can I give Charlie some chocolate?
The 3 ambassadors,
Dessert?
one who was obsessed with pleasure, one who was obsessed with aggression, and one who was obsessed with
okay.
love. That dude.
Right,
that
right.
one.
Who was messing with Worf and all that. Yeah.
The one who
Oh, what
was
a good
trying
dog.
to Florence Nightingale Picard.
Their plain growling sounds over, but that dog is clearly having a great time.
Puppy.
And it's like a
Puppy.
husky, right?
Oh,
like a
that
wolf
looks like an
husky
angry
hybrid.
dog. Okay.
Not a good puppy.
He's like, all right, we're going for a run.
Yeah, they're playing aggressive noises, but he's like clearly just like
He
do.
was so happy.
That the dog was what?
Where are we going?
We're going.
Oh, we're playing chase.
This
They
is
put
amazing.
put some dog treats in Deanna's pockets. Have her run away.
To see motion picture era uniforms is
That's
like,
the one he was going after.
I don't know, like as terrible as some of this stuff is, it's like the character development is pretty great. Like to have your parents in Starfleet is a pretty proud thing.
I like the motion. It's not motion picture era uniforms. It's Wrath and Khan and beyond.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same one that
I
Jack
did that a
Crusher
lot in
wears
TNG.
in that hologram?
So the orange indicates that that's a cadet uniform.
I mean, it's probably whatever they had on thing that fit
There's
them.
a few variations of this style of uniform over the years, so it may not be exactly the same as the movie
but
ones.
the orange is definitely supposed to be associated with cadets because that's what Kirstie Alley's character is wearing in Wrath of Khan, and she's still a cadet.
Yeah.
Okay, I
Is it
found
not the
the memory
division?
alpha pages for Simon and Teddy, the 2 dogs who appear in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Are they
Teddy
part wolf? Because that doesn't
Teddy
look
is
like
actually a timber wolf.
Okay, there you go.
A very tame timber wolf that just loves being on set, but it's still a wolf.
Would not be allowed today on set in California.
Could I also point out that they're probably dead?
Okay,
Oh, by now, yeah.
Oh, apparently this wolf is played by 2 dogs, Teddy and Buck. And then there's a third dog later in the episode, Simon, who's very clearly not a wolf.
They're trying to act like a wolf.
Oh no, Simon's a different dog. You're going to see Simon fairly soon. Not even close to a wolf.
How soon?
It's a really so
Is it a Yorkie?
No. We're going to see Simon in 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
And then we get to see the wolf again a little bit sooner.
the last time we saw the fisheye lens like this was when Data was having dreams.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the turbolift she got stabbed in the last episode. And there's creepy child. Hedril.
Well, all right. So all the turbolifts are the same.
Yeah.
Do you think that she's just scared to go in turbolifts now, or she has like flashbacks?
No, this is TNG. This is Star Trek. She doesn't have any lingering memory of that. It's like it never happened.
Right. She has it's a black page. Imagine you.
I don't know. Seems like it would be pretty traumatic.
Imagine you had a page in your diary and you covered it all in
That would
black.
be pretty traumatic.
On that note,
Yeah.
actually, there's that episode of Voyager Equinox with the aliens that come out of the wormholes to go and kill everyone on the crew. That one, and they're experimenting on them to use them as fuel. One of
Yeah,
the people
that's
from the
dramatic.
Equinox, they go aboard Voyager, and they're going down to engineer something. They're in the elevator, and the woman who was on the Equinox is just freaking out and has to stop the elevator and get out and take the stairs because she's traumatized by the
Yeah.
events on the Equinox.
Hmm.
Where if you're in a turbo lift, there's nowhere to run. You're just screwed. If the alien shows up.
Yeah, but she's not a main character, so she gets to be traumatized.
Yeah. She also stops existing after that episode.
Yeah, they all do.
I
'Cause
think
they
they
get
reference
crew
the
from the
names of some of
Equinox
the
at the end
people
of it.
later, but the actors never show up again, I don't think.
Yeah. I quite liked the Equinox episodes because it was a good time to present a foil for Janeway. Whether it was
Janeway
a
did
good or
go
a
a
bad
little
foil
crazy.
is. Yeah, I think that's because she was like reminded of all the things that she had done to maintain her principles, whereas that crew just
Hey,
had to not
this
do
is another
that in
case
order
of
to survive.
director reference in a previous episode.
What did they say?
He's talking about his dream analysis.
Ah. Yeah, why don't you just go ask Sigmund Freud what's wrong with your mother?
Do you think he survived? You know, he did get shot by the creatures in the dream.
Sigmund Freud? Yeah, he's probably fine.
So
All her
today
defenses was a wolf.
it's really hard to get medical records.
A wolf
So-
is like a
so
CR
level
1
2
half
druid.
creature. It's not that strong. Come
Yeah.
on. Level 1
First,
adventure can
first
take
it
down a wolf.
was Picard, then it was it her dad then the wolf, or the wolf then her dad?
It was the wolf then her dad.
Okay. There you go. So it's more than just a wolf. Picard would
It
be a
was-
pretty powerful NPC, right? I mean, maybe not
Oh
physically,
yeah, you
but
don't really want to come up against him. If it's anything to do with like willpower or anything like that.
But he doesn't have any special powers. He just talks to people.
he would give you a speech and convince you. He's a
Just persuade you to do things you don't want
he's
to
a
do.
bard.
Never seen this image before, I don't think.
No, that's new.
Nice plate.
I'm still on Deanna's fashions. He's in the uniform now, which is great. Looks great on you, Deanna. That's a good uniform.
Yes.
But I don't
I
like the
think she
nails,
looks better in
Deanna.
the uniform than she looks in the other stuff.
She totally does. 100%. But the nails bother me.
Everything's
It's-
touch
they're-
screens now, it's fine.
I think they might be an
You can just tap
affectation.
tap away.
No, she's gonna scratch the displays. You're not supposed to tap with your nail, Deanna. Use the palm of your finger. What's the word for
I
that?
don't-
The pad, not the palm.
Pad.
That's something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fingers don't have palms.
They just won't be quite as fast as the other crew members with shorter nails.
What? Like, if she's typing, suppose her fingers are on the home row. If she wants to,
She doesn't have to
Like,
type.
if she
She
wants
just
to
has
press
to
the M
dictate.
key down from J, then her nails are gonna get in the way. She's gonna have to like move her whole hand to press M.
So she just said she was 7 when her father died, and she didn't understand he wasn't coming home. I feel like that's a little old not to understand death. Is that just me?
I don't know. Also, Kevin, I'm not entirely sure why you're pasting numbers. I don't know what those numbers are.
I'm inviting someone to our channel. There's someone named Panda Bear that just came on.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
fine.
wait,
No,
wait.
it's just anyway.
They'll figure it
They
out if
deleted
they
them.
want to join.
Hmm.
I have faith in them.
At least I said if I
Faith of the
they wanna
heart?
join. But yeah, I was trying to paste the link, and I found a way, but it just pasted numbers. Basically, that's
Yeah.
the copy from the channel. I
Right,
mean,
right.
the D from the channel.
That was an accident, I see. This is really sad, because it's like on the one hand, Luoxana never wanted to share this, but You know, if you couldn't share this with your own daughter, like that's your only daughter, right? Then who are you going to share it with? So, at the end, you do get some kind of closure. over
She's
this
sharing
dramatic
it with
episode.
one of her daughters, but the other one isn't
Yeah.
listening because she's
Yo. She
she's
passed
busy.
away. Yeah, she's in a better
Is she?
place now.
Where is she actually? Wait, they fished her out of the river, right? So they just found her drowned corpse.
Wow. Yeah.
So she's probably buried somewhere, unless they recycled her for energy.
She's celebrating in a better place.
The prions from that recycled matter cause mad cow disease.
That's not you. It's a replicator. It completely undoes all the molecules. Ain't no prions in straight energy.
It's established in the novels for TNG, Double Helix, that prions can get through a force field.
Well, that's
So-
stupid, and I don't believe the books.
The books aren't canon, unfortunately.
They gotta change the sound effects. Is just.
It's fine.
I'm sorry, I'm losing it. It's hard. Everything else is great. Like I don't have a problem with anything else because
That's fine.
Oh,
that's not what
is this Buck or is that Teddy?
Isn't that
Simon's coming up.
Simon?
That's not Simon. Simon will be the one that's very obviously not a wolf.
There's the first one
Oh,
that says Buck.
okay.
That's a good wolf, though.
That's
Teddy.
not
Yeah.
that's not great rotoscope in there.
Yeah,
It was a
it's
good wolf.
okay.
You can see the
It's
blue
not
screen
even.
on the outline of her hair.
Yeah.
You know,
Don't worry
this harkens
about
back to the episode where they go to the M33 galaxy, and Picard sees Maman, and there's people doing ballet.
It's a weird one.
It's cool. Like the show always kind of had this like disoriented vibe, psychedelic, if you will.
I don't know if
1 minute,
I don't
20
know if
seconds
you
to
can-
Simon.
I don't know if you can hear Harry Potter going on in the background, but that's what's going on. Help me out if you guys hear anything.
Not really.
Okay.
This is so sad.
God, Loxana, get over your dead daughter. It was so long ago.
Wow.
It's like 20 years ago, Loxana.
30 years ago.
30 years ago. God.
Why are these guys so
Really
sad? They're
bad.
having a great time in the Arboretum.
This is such a
Great
nice
in here.
set too, by the
The
way. Like,
humidity is just right. You know?
you know,
It's great.
wouldn't you want to bring your two beautiful children here?
Into the Arboretum?
I don't know. It's just a fun play area. Like, I mean, obviously not so your youngest one can die horribly.
It seems a bit like short considering plants are growing in here, but
I assume
have it
all the
all.
lights around are putting out effectively sunlight for the plants.
So,
Yeah.
you know, on the back of the Enterprise, just past the shuttle bay, how there's those two arrays of big blue rectangles or squares
Wait, are you ready for Simon?
arranged in like a. Those are the windows of the Arboretum, supposedly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Simon?
that's cool.
There's
I've
Simon.
never seen that burrito, but that's cool.
Hmm.
Oh,
So
fine, no.
this is just like one room
Simon.
of the Arboretum.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
not a
assume-
wolf.
Oh, I can't watch this. Excuse me.
Mhm.
I can't.
I watch it. I
Can't
have
watch
to
a
go.
baby cry.
Okay,
What?
Kestra, go
No,
play in the
why not?
water. It'll
I've
be
seen it.
fine. Don't worry about it. God, Kestra, what's wrong with you? You hurt the baby. How would you feel about it if they put a Deanna style wig on baby Deanna? If she had this voluminous, the big poofy
Voluminous.
Deanna hair
No,
on baby
what if they
Deanna?
put her in like a onesie that looks like her like season 1 outfit?
I don't know
Like
if we
with
want to
the
put that on
little-
a baby.
The V. Well, not like just styled in that color and that. Obviously, babies. Never mind.
Okay.
Quite literally, as it seems.
Your dead daughter's trying to kill you. Forget her. So this is kind of a Space Ghost episode. Except it's just the ghost of her
The
past.
Space Ghost is kind of an alien.
Good job,
Other than
Loxana.
the wacky science aside, this is actually a pretty decent episode for Loxana.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the most character she gets in a long
Yes.
time.
I'm just, trying to distract from the horror of her child drowning in a river. At some point, we're going to run out of burial plots, right? This is several hundred years in the future. What do they do with all the bodies?
That problem already exists.
It does, and
What they do is they exhume the existing ones and replace it with new ones.
they just put the bones in a pit or something.
There is like a fledgling movement in the United States to just start composting bodies.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cremation is
honestly.
big because of that as well.
In Italy, you don't own your burial plot. I remember like part of my extended family had issues where like after so many years, you gotta move it out. And I don't know what they did with it.
You rent it for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, it's a long time, but it's not indefinite.
So because the corpse doesn't show up for court, they get a default judgment rendered against them? If they need to be evicted?
Yeah,
Well,
the
you
problem
could
with
you could Weekend at Bernie's them. It's like a skeletal marionette and just prop them up there, and
yeah, the problem with the
this is
movement to
all part
compost
of your
bodies
master
in the
plan,
U.S.
isn't
is
it,
that
Ryan?
it's not technically legal yet.
Well, these spare people, nothing to do with them.
It's okay, we're gonna meet Kestra again.
we should just send them all to Mars.
Send them all to Mars sometime in the next 20 years. Maybe like 15 years from now.
Yeah. That's what we do when there's an excess. We colonize something. It's the next step, isn't it? We colonize everything outside the planet.
I mean, the moon is here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
and
nothing
no-
there.
You can.
The moon sucks.
There's been a
there
lot
for
of
the
studies. There's been a lot of studies about colonizing Venus, and essentially the atmosphere is so dense you can have
Just floating
balloons,
cities, yeah.
floating cities. Yeah, and you wouldn't need anything other than like a oxygen mask.
The logistics of creating a floating city are pretty insane, though.
Well, it's
Yeah, Venus, I mean, technically, I think in Star Trek they actually terraformed Venus. I think it's fine.
We know how to terraform it now. It would just take hundreds of years. That's all.
But yeah, Venus is kind of awful because it's just the greenhouse effect to the extreme. It melts metal on the surface. It's so hot. And there's poison rain, and the atmosphere is poison. Everything about it is just...
I mean,
If you
it's
go
only
there, you
poison.
die immediately.
Sulfuric acid is great for
so hot, toxic, and deadly. Sounds like one of my exes.
hot meth.
Is she from Venus?
That's what they say.
Once they had the cute little doggy and the string started going crazy, I had to excuse myself. Because the music does it, right? Like the show's music is pretty crazy.
So in Star Trek continuity, this is the worst thing about the new Star Trek. They actually did something in continuity. They actually followed canon. How dare they? In that Kestra shows up again later. Kind of. Someone is named after Kestra, whose name happens to also be Kestra, because they were named after Kestra.
Were they actually named after Kestra, or was it complete coincidence?
Yes, it is complete coincidence that Deanna's child was also named Kestra. Completely random.
Does she actually show up somewhere else, though?
The episode Nepenthe is the Kestra episode.
Is that the one on the
That's
Wow.
the Riker and Troy
That's the-
planet.
pizza
I
oven
forgot
one?
about the name.
Oh yeah, the name
we-
one of the kids of the Kestra.
The Riker
You're
and
gonna
Troy
do that?
planet. Riker and Troy have children there. And
That's
well,
the
they have
best
a
episode
child.
of that series, hands down, so far.
And yeah, their surviving child is named Kestra. Honestly, I
That's
kind
so
of wish that the dead child, because they have a dead kid too, I wish that one was also named Kestra, just to continue the trend that all Kestras die as children.
Grief is a very difficult to handle emotion, and that's kind of why I loved that show. But you're a funny guy, Ryan.
Yeah, you
Well, like-
are. You really are.
What do you mean? Like I'm here to
Oh.
amuse you?
All of us.
I'm here to-
not just me.
Sometimes
Like I'm a joke to you?
Yes. No,
yeah, sometimes you just say things that
I have
Well, what do you
No.
mean then?
I have a difficult relationship with grief, but so I'm always looking out for it.
Someone's about to get shot.
All right, 1 minute to the
No,
next
just
episode.
what you say.
Attached.
Ryan, you don't know the stuff you say is funny. I mean, you don't know they're funny. They're funny to us.
Next is attached. It's the episode where Picard and Troy have some chemistry going on. But no
You
croissants.
mean Beverly?
What did I say?
You mean Beverly? Troy?
Troy. Yeah, no. Well, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember it perfectly. Maybe they show up together at the end.
No, it's definitely Crusher.
Don't you just love it when they have love it? Or they want their relationship and they never actually worked up the courage to do it.
Yeah, there's that line of, oh, maybe we should be afraid, and then they never mention their romance again.
There was the
He's also in Star
Hold that
Trek
thought.
with
Press play in 5,
oh.
4, 3, 2, 1, play.
He's also
Was the
in
episode-
Star Trek with O'Neill and Carter. They have a relationship type thing, but they don't actually end up doing it.
The Cass. The Cass
And
wants to
isn't
join
that
the
the
fight.
fight?
Vic Kiss.
Yes, Kevin?
They do mention the romance later, but like it happens all off screen and it's over by the time we see it again.
This is the best breakfast in the whole show.
I don't agree. All I want is a croissant.
What?
It doesn't have to be big and I'm
No.
with them. It doesn't have to be big and fancy. Just give me a croissant.
No.
That's fine.
No, I'm just saying, like, this is how.
Fast
This
and
is how-
basic breakfast is best.
Mhm.
Beverly, what are you doing? It's a fruit. You just pick it up and bite it. You don't need to slice it up with a knife. It's a fruit.
But it's the future.
Just biting it with your teeth wouldn't be civilized.
Future fruit.
Yeah, we've seen this
It
teapot
probably
a
has,
few
like,
times where it
lines
doesn't
on
hold
it,
that much teeth.
The way it's replicated, like says like cut here on. You know? Like the way we
Very
open a
effective.
packet and it has a little line on there.
Oh god, replicators would give you perfectly seedless fruit. You could eat the whole thing.
Yep.
There's no core that you have to discard.
Yeah.
There's no pit.
Just smash it into your face and enjoy.
Just the whole fruit. Oh, that's pretty good.
Because it could just make a convincing like skin of the fruit, even if the skin wasn't
in
edible.
Australia.
Just make it edible.
The world government in
Oh,
2150.
whoa! That's we've got a long way to go, which I suppose is actually pretty accurate.
We're going to be reunited in 129 years. The whole world is going to be united. 129 years.
I suppose that is a
That's ages.
reasonable time.
Well, let's kick the
says-
can down the road until
That's
10
like
years
the
before
first-
it, and then we'll deal with it.
Wait, when is
And
that
That's like the
relative
first
to
possible
Zephyr
time
Cochrane?
for it.
When's that relative to the warp flight? Because that's
Well,
well
in
after World War
2063
III.
Right. So in 2063,
World
we
War
still
III
had the
happened.
Eastern Coalition bombing us, and
It
stuff.
won't
World
be
War
long
III's
after.
happened like 30 years
the
ago,
war
20 years
thing.
ago, I think.
World War III is supposed to happen in like 5 years from now.
Right.
Okay, so that was
Yeah, well,
2150 is what
We're
they said.
supposed
I
to
need
have
to look
flying
up.
cars and stuff, and that didn't happen either.
The flight to the Phoenix was in 2063. So
Yeah,
the Earth was only united 90 years after first contact.
Wow.
that sounds really late. But what
Well, the
what
Earth
about-
was an absolute crumble of a. It was just nothing when it was discovered by the Vulcans that we had warp technology.
right?
We were
Wait,
just a
when was the
cindering
first year
ruin.
of Star Trek Enterprise?
It was the 22nd century.
That was like 100 years after the warp flight,
2130s,
and
I think.
unification was like 100 years after the warp flight.
It couldn't have been 100 years after the warp flight because Archer's dad worked with Zephyr Cochrane.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Hang on. Okay. So Star Trek
mean, the
Enterprise takes
Vulcans
place in
actively delayed things as
2151
well.
to 2155. So it takes
I was
place
gonna say
1
26.
year after world unification.
I was gonna say 2063, but okay.
2063 was the first warp flight. That was first contact. Enterprise takes place 1 year after the Earth is unified, which I don't know if that makes sense.
That never occurred to me before in Star Trek chronology. I thought there was a little bit more time than that.
That's probably the thing that allowed them to push through because the Vulcans were trying to hold them up. And they were like, no, we've unified the whole damn place. We're going.
So it took a lot of rebuilding because we know the United States didn't exist.
Yeah, there's just nothing left, basically.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
It does in
How old is
Enterprise. They
Archer
rebuilt San
when he's
Francisco at
captain of
least.
the Enterprise?
San Francisco's doing great.
What's that?
How old is Archer when he's captain of the Enterprise?
It's in his 30s or
How
something.
old? Yeah, so
No, because he's relatively old when he does the test flight, and that was like 10 or 20
That's
years
just
before.
because they didn't want to recast him. Let me look it up. He was born.
in canon news with that.
He was born in 2112, and Enterprise is
Mhm.
2151, so he's 49. 39.
Right.
Okay, he's old.
Yeah, that's about when I expected.
Wait, I'm failing at my math. Give me a second.
Oh, no.
38.
You know what?
39. Dang it. I'm messing up my math again. 39. 39. He's 39.
That's something that's more like the age of a Starfleet captain.
So why they rematerialized on their side and asleep? I suppose they're just knocked out immediately.
They didn't beam up the awake molecules in their brain. They beamed in a bunch of sleepy molecules during the transport.
sleep.
They've definitely been moved from what.
Or they just
the way
beamed them
they've
in and
been.
shot them immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I like the character development that happens in this last season. Like they actually grow close. The coffee and croissants.
I mean, I can understand Captain Picard saying croissant, but I don't think Beverly
Beverly?
should.
Ah! Directed by Jonathan Frakes. I liked it. It's like, as an American, I had never heard croissant pronounced correctly before until I heard that.
I was Jonathan Frakes, a cast member, and go ahead.
Okay, here's a pet peeve I have, where certain languages people insist on pronouncing it in that language because it sounds fancy. Like French people will say croissant or Paris because it sounds fancy, but nobody ever talks about like German words and how you actually have to pronounce them in German.
Right. Like Einstein.
examples.
We should, we should all be saying Einstein.
How come everyone says Munich and no one says München?
Right.
But
I think because it's harder to say it enough so that we can't be bothered, basically.
Yeah, that's what it is.
German's
The
a lot
French
easier
is
to
like,
pronounce than French.
but
Yeah, but
these are
it comes a lot easier because English is so intertwined with French.
Norman
So a
the
lot of the
Conqueror.
pronunciations are actually very adjacent, whereas German, you actually have to change how your mouth moves quite a lot, so we just can't be asked. And we don't do
William
it.
the Conqueror. of Normandy
I'm
landed.
convinced
at
it's
won
strictly
the Battle
people
of
trying to sound
Hastings in
fancy.
1066.
Oh, it's definitely some of that. Absolutely. That's why a lot of people, a lot of English aristocrats originally learned French was to like cozy up to the nobility, and that's why the French accent started to integrate like that.
You know, on Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, this one guy called himself an executive chef, and the whole time Gordon Ramsay's yelling at him, he keeps saying, "We chef, we chef." And Chef Ramsay throws him out saying, "Stop saying we chef and listen to what I'm saying."
Is that guy behind Worf the nurse / command officer / transporter chief from the last 2 episodes?
He's on flex shift, all right?
He's a generalist. How come nobody says kindergarten? It's always garden. Why not garten with a T sound?
Maybe it's going to be your mission to get some of those things into the vernacular. Don't ask why no one does it. Do it and make everyone else see your example and how good it is, and then they'll join in.
Yeah, it's hard, and we're just more familiar with the French. Like China itself is is not what they call their country.
Like,
Jeez, he's so worrisome about it.
is Picard okay? Oh no.
Here's something that sort of goes against my point though. There's a street near one of my relatives' houses who lives in, am I thinking of Sacramento? But anyway, there's a street there which is spelled Buhne, and which is a German word, and it means bean. Don't worry about it.
Mhm.
It means bean.
And
Okay.
some people pronounce it Booner with an R, which is fairly close to Bune, which is how it's pronounced in German.
Yeah.
I think people just took the Bune and added an R to the end.
Mhm.
But that's not how it would be
It's 'cause it
pronounced in
rolls off the
English, which
tongue
would be
easier.
just Boone.
Yeah.
Mhm. And some people make
Boner.
it into boner. Or
Boomer?
boner.
So it's an anglicized German pronunciation, but that's the only word I've seen anybody use even close to the German pronunciation for.
I'm sure if you traveled around, you would find plenty of examples of people doing that.
Never.
No travel?
No.
In German philosophy, Kant is pronounced cunt, and we couldn't do that all day.
I don't think that's true.
What did I just hear?
I think you made that up.
I've heard that from real Germans. I don't know. I mean, too bad Herr Deutschland isn't here, but yeah, it's
Herr Deutschland doesn't even speak German.
okay, but he's over there.
He lives there, but he doesn't speak it. I mean, I don't speak it either.
I wouldn't have said that if I hadn't verified it at some point. But my pet peeve, right, is that we call it Cantonese and Mandarin, and that's not. We should at least learn that Gongdunghua is Mandarin and Putonghua is Cantonese. Because if you ask them, "Do you speak Cantonese?" they're gonna look at you because they don't know what you're asking them.
Well, sure, but you don't ask French people if they speak Francois, or what is the French word for French?
Yeah,
That's correct.
yeah.
Nobody uses the word in that language for that language. Nobody
Yeah,
says
because you don't know the
Deutsch.
language, therefore you don't know the words.
True.
Francois is a name. Francais is the language.
Francais, yes. Francois. I was thinking of Francois Mattieri from Oblivion. He's a character you need to stage a fake assassination for. He's pretty cool.
And Francois is a country, right? So
Just France.
right.
How come nobody pronounces Germany as Bundesrepublik Deutschland?
What's
we
that
could
mean?
call it
Language of
Deutschland.
the commons or something?
Or Aleman, as the Romans used to call it.
Gaul. We should
Gaul
go
is
back to
France.
calling it Gaul. Is Gaul France? Doesn't it include
Yeah, it's
Western
France.
Germany?
Yeah, I mean, the board. Yeah, the
Kind
original
of.
board.
Depends what time you're talking about it.
Like
The time
southern
when it
France and
included
northern
Western
Spain
Germany
would
is
have
the
been
time I'm
answered.
talking about
Yeah.
specifically. Whatever that was.
Yeah, because the
Well, then,
Celts and
if you
the
want to
Germanic
define it in that
were-
way, then the answer is yes.
Yeah, the
Excellent.
Germanic tribes definitely spilled over into Gaul. That's correct.
What was the name for the main Germany bit?
The Goths, Visigoths, Alaric, Vicentidrix was hauled before Caesar.
Also, this guy,
You
you
mean
really think your
Vercingetorix?
primitive device can detect a TNG level? What was I even saying?
Fire effect.
This guy's device is probably too primitive to detect any scanning device, even if it were there.
It looks like a Game Boy.
These
Wow,
people are
nice.
barely more
And that-
advanced than Earth.
And that tricorder doesn't look like a Game Boy.
Yeah. True Robo. But at least it has LED lights that like flicker.
He's
That
throwing
other
his
thing,
defense jacket on the ground.
that other thing was just like a
Card, why don't you take your jacket with
Tamagotchi.
you? God.
She just
Hey,
said
that-
she smells gas, but like any natural gas source is actually odorless. So
Right.
I don't know what she's smelling.
Yeah. We add the smell of rotten eggs to it for safety.
Well, maybe it's a different kind of gas. It's space gas.
It just said methanogenic, which is like,
Methanogenic?
yeah, I don't know. It
It's a
sounds
different
like
kind of methanogenic.
adjacent to methane.
Yeah.
Well, methane might smell like cow manure.
This is the fire
Methane
swamp.
itself,
No,
I don't
methane
think
has no
any
smell.
It's
Okay.
the stuff that comes with it that has the smell.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
It's the
Like I know
sulfur
carbon
that gives
monoxide's odorless, for example, like totally odorless. And so is the gas.
Something you can do though is buy a carbon monoxide
Ooh, very
detector.
Yeah. Pretty important. Good reminder. Buy yourself a carbon monoxide smoke detector to protect yourself from odorless gases, audience.
Otherwise, you'll start hallucinating and you don't know why.
You'll leave post-its around your apartment, and you'll think it was your landlord.
Is that possibly the cause of my memory issues lately?
Yes.
I don't have a
Yeah.
carbon monoxide
Could
detector.
be. Could be.
You should absolutely get it. What do you mean?
Could
I think
also
you're
be heat
legally
stroke.
required to have one. You should probably get one.
Hmm.
Yeah. You are in certain states.
Oh, look, it's Tracy.
Hmm.
Guess the shipping.
My cousin had a brand new house built one morning, and one night, like 3 weeks into it, the carbon monoxide detector went off. And I was like, "So it was wrong, right?" It's like, "No, actually, there was a leak, and the whole house was filling up."
Well, Tracy looks sympathetic.
You
at
ought
least.
to see.
Interesting. Tracy gets some emotion here. Usually she just has to stare at her console. No, she gets to react and do stuff. No lines, but she gets to do stuff.
Hmm. She's on screen for a fair amount right
Oh,
now.
yeah. She's here all the time.
Same.
You have also detained
Take a
2 other
big-
officers? What do you mean, same?
No, I'm thirsty.
Who's saying anything about being thirsty? What? What show are you watching?
Am I on the wrong episode? What's going on?
Okay, the episode is attached, and we're at 1621, 1622, 1623, 1624.
I'm slightly behind. Hold on. There we go.
Like, we're out of the fire
I was just
caves.
at the bit where Crusher says, "Yeah, I'm thirsty too."
Crusher?
The doctor?
She's not on the screen.
No, that's what was
But she
confusing.
was.
Oh, they have a plan.
Season 7, episode 8.
Come on, man. It's the bridge. Who here's gonna talk about your stupid primitive communication system?
yeah.
Can we use gun on this man?
It'd be nice.
Oh, hey, it's the cave.
It
Wait,
Yeah.
and that absolutely looks like rock. It's perfect.
Looks like poured cement.
It looks like if you bumped into it, it would snap off because it's just polystyrene or something.
Notice, however, whenever they're bracing themselves against the rock, they're just sort of lightly tapping it and walking by.
There
They have to be careful.
you go. Thirsty.
There
Now
you
we can
go.
all be thirsty and take a drink.
Here's the drinking game. Whenever someone says they're thirsty, take a drink. It'll happen exactly once in the entire series.
It happens a lot more on DS9.
There's probably some of that in the O'Brien Prison Mind episode.
Mostly in Clark's, I think. But yes,
With the
plenty of
sand
thirst
peas,
in
yeah.
that.
All right, I'll save up for a really nice scotch or something for.
No, that's not the same legend. Oh, this is the cave wall where Picard's fake son is found climbing.
Is
Yeah,
this the
but-
one that the rocks fall on him and he nearly dies also?
No, that's a different one.
This is also the same cave where Beverly, Worf, and Picard went looking for a metagenic weapon, and before Picard was captured by the
Yep.
Cardassians.
Why would their devices have this effect?
Yeah.
They're just supposed to like record the thoughts of the person wearing it, right? That's all they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Because they're probably not familiar with human physiology, and two, maybe when the devices are not connected to whatever they're supposed to be connected to, they connect to each other. It's like
They're like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth
Yeah,
and
wha-
NFC.
Why are they Wi-Fi enabled? Why do they have blue? Why? Why would you not just
And they're
plug
Why
in
not?
like
the USB port in the
They-
back to download the data?
They
They can
press
have
the
the neon-
buttons at the same time and they syncs up the Wi-Fi. That's all that happened.
Why does that guy have a plasma ball? What's the plasma ball protecting him from?
free radicals.
I think I have one of
It's
those
got
in my
radar
closet.
in
Is
there.
that an anti-listening device?
It's an ozone generator.
yeah, all he needs is like jars of urine on his desk
He needs a carbon monoxide detector in there.
and a tinfoil hat and a 5G hat.
Why does Riker seem so into that?
So it means some kind of communication is possible.
Can't we just scan for human life signs and just beam up whoever we find?
Yeah, that should solve this problem because it's a primitive planet too. They don't even have shields.
Yeah. No, they do have shields. That's
I mean-
quite blatantly established at the start of the episode.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
They don't have the kind of shields that would prevent transport though. They just make like walls.
No, it said they needed to lower the shields and then they could beam in, but that was shields from these people were supposed to put it, so I don't know
Was it-
specifically.
Wasn't that just around their like security ministry though? Around their
Could be.
government headquarters?
Could be.
Yeah, I doubt it's planetary shields.
Yeah, that is quite true.
Yeah, no, you're not getting into the Federation. There's no way.
Yeah,
You people are trash.
I mean,
Oh, hey, it's the Darmok.
besi-
It's the Darmok area.
Oh, that's a great mine shaft.
So what was he saying that might prevent their entrance into the Federation?
Everything. Their paranoia
Riker's gonna
and their
Oh,
poo all over their application.
Picard was saying over the coffee and croissants that
it's not croissant. We're not French. We're not speaking French.
Beverly does.
If you're going to
Croissant.
pronounce that in French, I demand you speak every other word with a French accent. Got to
Oui,
be
chef.
consistent.
We. Picard says though that they have to unite as a planet, and that says something about overcoming their social and political differences. So they haven't done that, so that's why you're not going to join.
It's like if both sides were North Korea. There's no South Korea. They're just both North Korea.
Yo.
Both of them have to argue about which side of the planet is actually north. Wait,
Yeah.
what?
And which mountain?
What was the joke,
holy
Picard?
leader
Why
was
don't we get to hear the joke? What wasn't funny?
The current is funny.
I think he was laughing at your North
The
Korea
actor
joke.
is funny.
That they both argue. Thanks for watching, guys.
The stream
walk
should be
away
back
from each other
momentarily.
and
Don't worry
talk.
about it. It's fine. Okay, we're back. The
Okay.
stream's fine. It's fine. OBS did not crash. Just have faith.
We're watching a great episode. Nothing happened.
If you're in YouTube, you might need to
maybe we need to
resynchronize.
take a look. Maybe we need to take a look at your graphics card, my friend.
I'll sort it out later. I was messing with it a bit, and I can just reset it to default. It's fine.
Yeah, I was going to say you must have hit a button.
I like that there where they
this
try to
one's
stick
still
as close to
coming
each
so
other
far.
as possible.
Yeah.
Nice little touch at the end.
Did Picard- Go
The
ahead.
stream is still going, so we're okay.
Yeah. It just
This
glitched.
looks a lot
might
like
not-
the
I mean,
area
on
from
YouTube.
Rocks and Shoals. And I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
during the
Drama.
episode of Rocks and Shoals, we said this looks a lot like the area from Attached.
It's nice though. Like if you're just watching this episode, it's pretty baller to look at.
Oh, here's
seems
a
boring.
leadership lesson from Captain Picard.
I always find when people go on away missions, and we see them. I mean, like this I'm talking about, and they're trapped. That seems kind of boring.
Captain Picard,
That brought down the whole facade.
I think I found in my own life that most of the time it doesn't really matter which of two choices you do, as long as they're both basically fine. So you just pick one. It doesn't matter. Just choose.
Mm-hmm. Two roads diverged in Yellowwood, and sorry I could not travel both.
The
And
only
we
thing
went
that matters
traveling.
is that you decide quickly, not which one you decide.
Long I stood, and stood there as long as I could to where it bent in the undergrowth.
What's the thing on the back of Picard's head? Some kind of
That's
Some
the
kind of
device that's
device
making
is
him
found.
telepathic with Beverly. Also, why
That's
would
what
you
I
take
thought.
the road less traveled by? That just sounds like the dude's being contrarian. What's wrong with the other road? Everyone
That-
else liked it.
That is the physical manifestation of his attachment to Dr.
Yes.
Crusher.
Quite literally,
Well,
yes.
that's also the road not traveled, right? So
You know, there's
The road
probably a
less
good reason the road's not traveled. Clearly, a bunch of people have been on this road before, and nobody liked it.
Yeah, highwaymen, that's why.
is the road less traveled?
Oh god,
Or-
Beverly, I hate your pocket.
maybe your best friend already traveled on that road, and you don't want to go down that road.
Intake right here.
See, highwaymen, told you.
Yeah, see, this is what happens when you take the road less traveled.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Then took the other just as fair, and sorry I
gotta
had
take
traveled
detours.
both. And be one traveler long I stood.
You gotta
Just
take.
as I
You gotta take detours.
No, see, that's the issue. Don't
Mhm.
don't
it
be
was a force
stood
field
long.
protecting the entire border, apparently.
Don't be stood
Um,
long deciding which path to go. Just go.
I'm gonna have to turn.
Don't be writing poems about it.
You're up to 200%.
I don't think these devices do
going-
anything.
Yeah, he's
I mean,
They have
I mean,
four
he's-
separate plasma balls.
that cures COVID.
Nope, does not.
talking
Okay, I'm gonna make a
recycling.
rule.
That's the 4G. That's the 4G transmitter that makes the frogs.
I'm gonna make a
we have
rule
Or 5G transmitter.
of no mention of COVID conspiracy theories.
Sorry, okay. I got
Other
my second
conspiracy
shot.
theories are fine, but I don't want to get shut down by YouTube.
I got my second shot 3 days ago. I'm fine.
Okay.
That's good. Hopefully you stay.
I mean, Fine,
Uh-oh,
fine.
You've accidentally
No.
stimulated
Robo,
that
shut up.
discussion, and now we're on that road.
Oh my god, the both just paranoid
They're all the
about
worst.
everything.
Everyone on this planet sucks. Pretend to lose your officers during transport. Okay, if you needed the destruction of the Kess, the Enterprise could just destroy you from orbit in a day.
Yeah.
They have antimatter torpedoes, hundreds of them.
This is after the board started, and this is now started Deep Space Nine. So they're starting to get the phaser torpedoes or whatever they are.
Quantum.
Yeah, quantum torpedoes.
The Enterprise D doesn't get them, I don't think. Everyone else gets them.
No, Enterprise D doesn't get them.
Right.
The Sovereign class gets them.
Yeah, but in other words,
And
Starfleet.
for some reason,
coming
they're
to
like a
us.
separate launcher. You'd think that they'd be able to just make one launcher that fires both, but no.
You know, what I really wonder is
it's
why
quite
quantum
different
torpedoes
design.
are literally just photon torpedoes except blue.
Well, so my understanding is that the quantum torpedo is like it's a miniature Big Bang. You're collapsing a superstring, and it's basically a miniature Big Bang. So I wonder if you're creating little pocket universes every time one of them goes off.
You're creating little pocket universes that have a rapidly accelerated time, and then how the torpedo works is that the people in that universe eventually self-destruct, and they start launching weapons from inside, and it impacts on the vessel on the outside of the universe.
Okay. All right, but why do you have to damage the fabric of space-time?
Isn't there an ethical well, is there ethical dilemma in
No,
creating a
no,
pocket
no.
universe just as a weapon?
It's fine.
All the little civilizations that come and fall in the milliseconds.
It's not like you're destroying the little universe. You're not killing everyone inside. They're killing themselves.
You decided it, so they will kill themselves, though.
Firelight is very romantic.
Especially when you're getting that big column of smoke going right into your face, no matter which position you sit at.
That's not fun.
It always follows you around the fire.
I like the idea of fire, but it never
Yeah.
seems to work out very well.
The smoke somehow always follows you, no matter where you sit. It just moves to you.
It's very dirty. In fact, I got an induction cooktop, cooking with electromagnets, and I found that even though cooking with wood is extremely dirty, you're gonna get asthma and all that because you're inside the soot all day. But even a regular stove gives off carbon monoxide and soot, so you really have to have the exhaust on if you're using a gas stove.
Yep, here's the sexual tension between the old man and the doctor lady.
He's young at this point.
Picard is actually not that old.
Yeah,
But he looks old.
He does
excuse
look
yourself.
ancient.
He looks like he's in his 60s.
I thought we talked about this. He's well into his 60s, or
That's young.
Yeah.
McCoy was 120, okay, and fit as a fiddle. So
I can never remember. It's either Captain Picard is supposed to be a lot younger than Patrick Stewart, or he's supposed to be a lot
He's older than
It's one
Patrick
or
Stewart.
the other.
he's a lot older.
okay,
lot
Let's have it
older.
right.
Patrick Stewart was young and Captain Picard was young. Okay,
He's 54 here.
Captain
Young.
Picard or Patrick Stewart?
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart.
54 years young.
Picard was 59 in season 1, according to Screen Rant.
So he's 55.
Yeah, but
or
Patrick Stewart
56.
was 47 in
66.
when he was cast in the role, I believe.
He's at the peak of his strength and looks and everything.
That's not how life cycles work at all.
I don't know.
People in their 60s
He's-
are generally not at peak strength in their whole life.
I don't know, but he's just
He was born in 2305. He takes command and 2364.
Then he's 60.
So he was
He's not
59
60.
in season 1. Right. So he's well into his 60s at this point.
Yeah.
Picard gets better and better looking every season.
He's like a fine wine from the
thank
Picard
you.
vineyards.
Thank you. I thought I was gonna get pushed back.
I did specifically call out
Maybe-
the peak strength thing. The peak looks is subjective.
Okay.
So like he ages like a fine wine, but by the time he makes it to Picard, he's vinegar.
But he makes fine wine in Picard. What do you mean?
He's fine cheese.
He makes so much wine. Even Q knows it. Always quoting Shakespeare. He's always making wine.
So
It could have gone such a better way with Picard, where they just had him
We're
making wine.
enjoying season 7 of TNG.
Him and Q just drinking wine and reminiscing about the times
Really?
gone by.
I don't believe for a
show.
second you would have accepted that as real Star Trek.
Patrick Stewart and Gates McFadden are 9 years apart in real life.
Okay, that's fine.
Right.
That is a lot, but it's not old
It's
man.
not that much when you're in your
doctor.
60s.
It's not. I wouldn't call
It does.
1.0.
Age doesn't matter that much overall.
I mean, I wouldn't
you're an
date someone
adult.
who's 9
You
years
feel
younger
yours.
than me, but if I did that, it would also be illegal.
Yeah, but if you're in your 60s, you might feel different.
Yeah,
Like, right
9 years
now, in
difference
your-
is relative to your age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Half your
Yeah,
age
I mean,
plus.
I'm
Divided by
39 right now.
minus
I
7.
wouldn't. I'm 39 right now, and I don't think I would have too much trouble dating somebody who was 29. Like that doesn't
Yeah.
seem like that big of a deal.
Not huge, but it might be.
It's a thing in the gay community too, though, that age differences are much more common because the dating pool is so much smaller.
Somewhat.
No, not somewhat. It's a thing.
It's a matter of preference too.
Well, I mean,
I mean, the preference definitely plays into it, but age differences are more common in
the
gay relationships.
I can
the
imagine.
population. Hang on, what am I thinking? The fraction of the population that's
Like 10%.
in any way not straight, LGBT, whatever way. Isn't it? Yeah, 5 to 10%, something like that.
Statistically, the only measure that we have is like between 2 and 5, but that's
2 and
because
5%.
it's all based on self-reported statistics, because like you can't test if somebody's gay. So
Right.
like it is a thing where people who are not heterosexual in whatever way are much more reticent to report
Right.
that they are, because
I bet
there
in
is
Star
a
Trek
lot
they
of
could
stigma.
test for it.
No.
You could probably
In Star
test
Trek,
for
maybe.
anything in your brain, and you could probably test if you like apples more than oranges in Star Trek.
Really?
Yeah, it depends on what we would accept as believable
I mean,
in the Star Trek.
You know,
universe.
you can judge by how much someone's pupils dilate when
I mean-
exposed.
There was a scene in Enterprise where Dr. Flock says, medically speaking, there's no accounting for taste, because you can't scan someone's taste buds.
There's
But that was also 300
there
years ago,
is-
200.
there is a test where they subject you to imagery and then they measure responses, physiological responses, very directly. I'll just put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's also subjective though. Like certain things happen in certain situations where you can't determine exactly what is causing the response.
But I will say this: having now, like, at least talked to and I guess dated some women that were like in their late 20s or even mid 20s, and being in my 30s, it's like sometimes I'm like, I don't have anything in common with you. So that's
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's a bigger problem than just the age difference. Like, if you don't have something in common with someone, it doesn't matter what the age difference is. It's not going to work.
yeah, but sometimes like just the things that
You're in a different phase of your life. Like in your
Right,
20s, you're not looking
right.
to settle down, and in your mid 30s, you're probably looking to settle down.
well, I'm not really looking to settle down. It's just the things that are concerns in your 20s aren't really. I don't know.
I don't know, everybody here in their 30s seems still pretty concerned about Star Trek.
Yeah,
I will be concerned about Star Trek until the day I die because I love the franchise.
Yeah, the Federation Council is going to listen to you. They don't care.
I'd like to see the Federation admiral who has to read that report and like how hard they laugh.
How are they even going to message that to the Federation Council? They don't have subspace, I don't think. What are they going to
Yeah.
do? Send it over radio? It'll get there in a few hundred years. Maybe by
Ryan,
the
you're
time it
breaking up a
reaches
little
the
bit.
Federation Council, they'll be able to actually join because they'll have evolved.
Is it just me or Ryan's breaking up a little bit?
I don't know. I sound fine to me in real life. Sound great.
Your microphone is choppy.
Let me. Okay, I just listened back to the stream. It's okay on YouTube.
stream. Okay, that's all that matters. I can intelligibly make out.
Yeah,
what
since
you're
the stream's
Yeah.
almost over, I'll just leave it. I'll deal with it later.
saying.
Yeah.
Can you spare 10 starships? You can barely spare one starship most of the time.
I mean, they're science starships that can't do much in combat.
Just send Jake the journalist or something.
They mean send in Neo Birth as well.
Like when they tried to stop the Borg, they only showed up with 40 ships. You know, and that was the friggin' Borg.
The Battle
The
of Wolf
friggin' Borg.
359 was a couple of hundred starships.
No, it was only 40.
No,
Yes.
it was a graveyard.
Okay, let me check up.
It was-
Battle of Wolf. I almost typed Wharf 359.
Mr. Worf. Mr.
Wharf 359 is from the
359.
episode Parallels, where we get all a bunch of different wharfs.
Okay.
Okay.
According to Memory Alpha, the Battle of Wolf 359 was 40 Federation ships versus one Borg cube,
All right.
with 39
That's
ships destroyed. The one not being destroyed, of course, being the
Wow.
Enterprise.
Please hand over your nerd card.
my credentials for sure.
Hang on, before you said earlier, you would never say anything without having checked it first.
I said like that. What did I say about Germany being Bundestag or something?
Bundesrepublik Deutschland.
Kant. The vulgar pronunciation of Kant in German.
Yeah, I still don't think that's correct. I'm pretty sure it's Kant in German.
This was such a wasted opportunity for future episodes and future canon in the films.
Yeah. I mean, in all good things, we do get them as ex-spouses, which is even more funny than this.
Yeah, but then the films don't take it and make it actually a real relationship that happened in the prime timeline.
Yeah.
Did they end up dating in, before Picard, and they just broke up?
Yeah, I don't think they
I
say.
think
They never
Picard was too busy to do that sort of thing. I don't know. He was fired from the Federation for a while.
Yeah, he also leaves the Enterprise. Like he captains another ship.
I mean, they make him admiral, right?
What are
So
they both
generally-
wearing?
They're wearing something awful
Look,
as what?
It's casual. Casual. That's what it's
So-
called.
That does
This
not
is
look
one of
casual.
several- Yeah, this is one of several like deep plunge V-necks that Picard has, where one side is like fine fabric and the other is like ruffled like that.
I hate both of
He's
their
got-
outfits.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, I don't know what the fuck Beverly's wearing. It's like a leotard with a bunch of ribbon
With a giant
straight
Victorian
draped around
era
her.
size skirt.
Yeah, it,
Future cheek. That's what it's called.
Doesn't she have stockings on in this scene?
I'd love to wear that.
yeah, but her top is like a leotard.
I'm talking about Picard. He's looking very sexy.
You say so.
The ripples on the right side.
Kiss her, you fool. You know, Beverly actually looks very similar to Commander Darren.
Yeah, they are very, very similar.
Never really thought of that.
I mean, it's the layers in their hair and everything.
I was thinking of the
They also-
cheekbones.
They are similar in more ways than just that. Like if you watch the way Commander Darren walks, it's very similar to the way Beverly Crusher walks. And
So
stuff
this
like that.
is
Although
the Fjord Beverly thing is an interesting thing because it's kind of exactly the same thing as was with an earlier relationship with Picard, where she's the head of department.
Yeah, that's Commander Darren.
Yeah, right.
You know,
And,
there was
yeah,
a
she
very
has nice
similar
blue eyes.
scene in the episode where Picard is replaced, where he's showing her out the
Yeah.
door just like this.
not just like this. In that episode, it's a lot more comical because he literally slams the door in her face.
And in that episode, she was the one trying to continue the relationship. And he turned
Right,
it
yeah.
down. Well, maybe you should have let Replicant Picard take over for you, Captain. Open flames on the Enterprise?
I mean, if anything happens, just vent the compartment to space. You're fine.
I love how
With
the
the
color
captain in it?
changed.
They've actually
Sure.
that is weird. They've shown. I suppose it was a more interior part of the Enterprise which had the fire, but they have shown that they can't easily do that. Just vent the compartment to space, no fire.
Yeah, I really
Just put
appreciated
a
in
force
Discovery
field
when
around
they...
it, and it extinguishes itself, right?
So many times in Star Trek, I've just said, there are people on the ship, just vent them into space. Just open the doors, and they'll die. It works. And then finally in Discovery, they actually did it, and I was so happy. Like, thank God somebody used the door. The door is your greatest weapon on a starship.
Yeah.
If you've ever played FTL, you will know this.
Yes.
Okay, we're done here. Stream's over.
Thank you, Ryan.
Pepperoni.
No
Get thee gone from my sight.
ceremony sent into the stream today.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Soma. Thanks, Robo.
Use gun on video
Yeah.
card.
Thanks, Pat.
Don't do that.
No, don't.
Don't use any guns on any video cards right now. They are too valuable.
It's funny.